Hey guys, it is the 18th of April, 10 p.m. on the East Coast of the United States, and it is episode 142 of 4PlayerAnimecast, your friendly neighborhood podcast where we complain about all of the quote unquote dark and good anime. Here we are in the second part of our spring 2020 anime review season, and we're heading right into it again. As we said in previous episodes, we are going to have to kind of pick at things here and there. We might cover some things earlier than you guys might have liked. It's just the nature of the season, right? Or it's just the nature of how review podcasts work and how the season works. There's a lot of episodic series, or not episodic, excuse me. There's a lot of sort of overarching plot series. So sometimes we're going to have to pick out and review a series earlier than we might have liked, so on and so forth. Again, it is what it is. But anyways, I am your host, Spire. We are all here, living our best productive quarantine lives, I hope. And with me are my compatriots. Near, how are you today?
I'm okay.
Pretty good, pretty good. Been going through some new game sort of some beta testing issues on the side.
Yeah. I'm playing the Kiite kure Drive beta, and that game fucking sucks.
Well, unfortunate. But you've been up to anything anime, manga, blah blah, so on and so forth in the past 2 weeks? I know like things also have been like becoming a lot more quiet because of what's been happening in Japan.
Yeah.
But still, yeah. Have you been up to anything in the past 2 weeks?
Nothing too big. Just you know, I guess just waiting for brand new animal to
Brand new
catch up because it started airing normally like last week.
Right.
So now we gotta wait 5 more weeks, and then I can continue the show. So
Okay.
that's cool.
Near, did you see the two cameos in that one episode that I didn't watch, but you did?
I saw you post that picture, but I don't know who those are supposed to be. Like,
On the bottom left?
I
Isn't
didn't.
that,
Yeah, it was like a bunny girl and a fucking
Yeah,
red-haired dude
is,
with
is,
horns,
is
right?
not is that not Himawari, Honma, and Dola?
no,
Himawari Hon. Wait, who the fuck is that again?
What?
the dumb one.
Is it not her?
It. I don't see the.
Why would that be her?
I don't see
You don't see the big grin and the sunflower?
Wow.
Okay, I don't think that is a reference.
Are you sure?
all.
She's got the same big grin and sunflower, and is that not Dola?
A lot of background trigger characters have a big dumb grin, but
Yeah, I don't know.
yeah, I don't.
Okay,
Sounded
okay.
like a bit of a stretch to me.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm looking at Dola. Kind of looks like her horns and her hair and her ears, but okay.
Okay, so
I'm
anything
not a
else?
Niji
Trigger is
Sanji
usually
YouTuber
pretty.
anyway, so I don't
Trigger
know.
is not exactly like
Yeah, triggers is not subtle when it's
subtle with the
referencing stuff.
references, bro. Fucking
li-
Chumley was just in Little Witch. Like,
Yeah, but yeah. In terms of anime, not really on top of things. I checked out like like 5 minutes of was it Tower of God? And
everything you fucking dreamed
just to
of.
confirm that show looks as bad as I thought it did, and it does. It looks like shit. That show is fucking hideous.
Again, it's just like I don't know.
But
It's very unfortunate that it's like
Yeah, I
it's
would
not.
say it's
It's not even.
unfortunate people like it too.
Yeah, it's not even unfortunate that it's just like it's not even the adaptations issue. I mean, like for me, honestly, even if it had good animation, I would probably not watch it.
I mean,
Uh,
the weird
it's-
thing is though is that it doesn't. Yet people are still like, I'm so happy it's finally animated. Like,
Yeah,
why?
yeah, yeah. That's the thing. It's just like I don't know. It's in a very it's very unfortunate that Korean webcomics and stuff like that have kind of come to this, where it's like it's some sort of strange pale imitation, right? Pale imitation would be the literary term. Pale imitation of essentially Korean dramas plus some more isekai kind of stuff. But it's very unfortunate. But oh well. But anyways, yeah. So Tower of God was a little bit unfortunate for you, and
Yeah, that
then
show is fucking hideous. Other than that, I watched the 2 episodes that are out for Shadowverse.
okay,
Um,
you'll be telling us a little bit more about that down the line. I'm
yeah.
assuming. Yeah. Okay, okay, pretty good. So, Toast, what have you been up to?
How about now, Nier? I posted a new link. Can you see it now?
I mean, you can give Hema ears, but like I just
Why are you in denial, Nier?
I don't think Trigger would like put something like that far in the background at that low detail. Like if Trigger's going to make a reference, it's going to be something like the fact that Inferno Cop was literally playing on like the big screen in episode 1 of BNA. Like they're not subtle about their reference.
Yeah, every single reference in Little Witch was like a central part of it. There was the
Yeah,
entire
again,
there was an
Trigger is not
entire
very subtle.
episode dedicated to a reference to fucking Twilight. So
Anyways, Toast, what were you up to these past 2 weeks?
Social distancing.
Good answer. That's a good answer.
Oh, I watched. What the heck's the name of it on Netflix?
Tiger King
Oh god.
on Netflix.
That's pretty
There we
good,
go.
actually. No, it's Once Upon a Time on Lingjian Mountain. That's on Netflix, and I was like, hey, I think I've watched this before, and lo and behold, I did. Well, I didn't watch it, but I read this before. It's also known as Once Upon a Time on Spirit Blade Mountain, but this is the Chinese live action, and it's actually pretty good, I guess. I'm watching that. That's cool.
Okay. So
What? Oh,
yeah, mostly Netflix stuff. Do you have any anime or manga stuff you'd like to tell us about?
I started a certain series back in April 10, and I'm working my way towards season 3. So that's cool.
Okay,
I'm
that's a
talking
little
about
bit.
Data Lives Fire. April 10th is
Yes,
Toka's
yes,
birthday.
I suspected it. Yes, 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 yes. Thank you very
Yeah, you never watched that before, huh?
much.
I don't know. I think it's the most important anime of the last generation. So
I don't know about that one, dude.
Important.
Of the last generation, it defined a generation, guys.
I believe,
But
yeah. I mean, have you seen the newest volume of Data Live? It's pretty good.
okay.
It's called what is it called? It's called what is it?
Damn, it's that good.
Yeah, it's called Toka Good End Second Half. So
like like it's like a Harry Potter Volume 7, but like with
apparently
the two volumes kind of thing, right?
yeah, it's the final volume of Data Live. I don't believe it, but if it is, I'm happy for it
I mean, it
because
literally is the main character and good end. So I don't.
but Spire,
Bro, they'll do like a fucking Data Live 2 where fucking Toka 2 comes back
Toka
and
2.
dumber than ever.
Yeah, and
near,
meets up with a new protagonist.
stop spoiling the last volume because
Oh my God.
in the previous volume 21 there was a Toka from. I mean, wait, do you guys care for spoilers?
I don't give a shit, dude.
I don't.
Okay, so there's a Toka from an alternate universe called Beast. It's an alternate universe where Shido died and she became all evil, and she had white hair, and she looks pretty cool. And Shido meets her, and she's like, "Wow, so you're Toka," and she's like, "Yeah, wow, and you're Shido," and then they have a date. It's cool.
Okay.
I mean, it's about time for me to reread all of it. Yeah.
About time.
I've run out of comments on that series.
Did
and
you know there's a Date Alive season 4 coming soon? But I think it's the spin-off series. Fatal Bullet.
Who's
Fatal
doing
Bullet.
it? Is it gonna
a
be
good-
fucking JC staff and look like ass again?
a good
Probably.
half or more of Data Life stuff is side story at this point. You realize this, Toad.
Oh,
We've talked about
the
this.
movies are canon now, and so are, I believe the games are now too.
I'm sure all of it's canon. It doesn't
I mean, it
mean
might be
it's
canon.
like
It
it's a
doesn't mean it's
side-
not
yeah.
a side story.
It can exist in the universe, but it's still a side story.
No, it's not.
But
I don't believe you.
okay. Anyways, you
Date
want me to
of
talk about-
Bullet. That's the one I'm thinking of. I was gonna say Fatal
Fucking-
Bullet, but
It doesn't even have the same title, and you're just gonna tell us it's the main series.
So somebody,
Well, it's-
somebody was just like, Data Bullet was so emotional. I couldn't believe the ending. I'm just like, kid, like at this point, I'm like allowed to call them kid, right? It's like,
Couldn't believe it.
like how many years have you been watching like this shit, and you're
9
like,
years.
oh, it's so emotional. Oh my god, like come on, man.
I've been
like,
not,
look it over it.
9 years, 8 years, no, 7 years, Spire.
Yeah,
7
but
years.
you wouldn't be like, this is so emotional, right? Like,
Are you seriously asking me that?
toast.
Keep
Anyway,
in mind,
anyway. Data Bullet is the Kurumi spin-off, if you don't know who that is.
yes, I know it's Kurumi spin-off. Tokisaki Kurumi, the goth girl that has the red and the two guns and all the garbage. Anyways,
Yeah, the
I
one
mean,
that still is getting figures made of her.
yeah, I mean, the thing is, like, her design is fucking great. I like the character design. Unfortunately, everything else about Data Live I hate, so it kind of evens out. But anyways, Tess, you'll be talking a little bit more about some of the other stuff that you've watched in these past 2 weeks, and down
Okay.
the road, and Dark. What have you been up to these past 2 weeks?
getting fat.
No, yeah.
Yeah,
You gotta watch
no,
these
haven't done-
calories during
dude,
quarantine, dude. Calorie counting.
Yeah, I'm calorie counting. I ate fucking fried chicken tenders today and macaroni and cheese. You know, I've been
The
eating,
weird
like,
thing is, it's
boxes
like
of Cheez-Its.
in quarantine, like when I'm just like kind of sitting there and like not doing anything, I'm just like doing other stuff, or like not eating and then doing other stuff. I tend to actually not eat, so it's like the issue is like I sometimes have, as I sometimes complain, I have like 1,000, 1,500, 2,000 calories left in the tank by the time it's like midnight. I'm just like, how do I eat this? And I have to kind of like shove it over to the next couple of
I
days.
wish, bro.
Oh my god.
I'm fucking sitting here like, yeah, I consumed like 4,000 calories today. Like, sure.
Jesus.
You know, but it also doesn't help. My mom's been baking like
Yeah.
a lot.
Yeah.
Like, she's been making chocolate chip banana muffin. She's been making fucking banana bread.
Oh,
It's like,
Jesus.
stop making this shit. Like, I'm not doing I haven't done cardio in like 2 months now because of this shit. So hopefully a gym opens up before I completely fall apart.
You're
But
just, like,
once it
walking to-
does, yeah, I'm gonna walk into the gym and I'm gonna.
It's gonna be like a
probably,
reality show.
fucking 190 something pounds, if not 200 by then.
Oh,
I'm
Jesus.
like, what the fuck happened?
Oh, pardon. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
gonna
I'm
be
trying to.
it's gonna be interesting.
Yeah, hopefully neither of us will be slobs by the time we enter the gym.
It's too late, bro.
It's too late. But anyways, what have
But
you been up to, anime, manga wise?
Not a lot, to be honest. Because of the quarantine and not being able to go to the gym, that's cut out like any action series. I'm just saving everything that I possibly can.
Mhm.
But as far as that, I watched Wave Listen.
Was that the one with the
listen up,
Yankee girl
listen up.
and the bear?
Yes. And then,
Did she beat the bear?
Or was it Wave Listen? I don't know. Remember? It was Wave Listen. And that was on Mall. Called. I'm trying to think of. What else I did? Been playing a bit more, Grand Blue Versus.
Mhm.
That count. And that's kind of really it as far as like anime manga stuff.
Okay.
Been pretty slow.
Okay. So for me, it's been a kind of interesting time, or not interesting time, but it's just like I don't know. It's been like I've been doing like I've read a little bit of manga. I forget fucking which one I did. I think it was like a couple of isekai stuff here and there. And then I watched a little bit of Wave, and um I watched Gleipnir. But I mean, I read that as manga a long time ago. And I've even read a series that the author had written, or the author had drawn before that. That's part of why what drew me to Gleipnir in the first place, because Gleipnir in the first place because it had the same artwork. But I'll talk about that a little bit later. But I watched that a little bit, and I can kind of talk about that again because I've read the manga. I've actually been spending a lot more time than I'm comfortable saying on visual novel stuff. I finished Majikoi Fan Disc. I went through some. What did I go through? I went through some other visual novel. I did the Ponkotsu Akuma, which is like the English localization is, I believe, it's like the Ditzy Devils Are in Love with Me or something like that. And it is another visual novel that uh, Sayori, right, is the Nekopata artist.
Yes.
Yes. So it's another one that Sayori helped draw. I'm honestly like, I'm not, I'm not particularly convinced by it, but it works as a time filler, I guess. Question mark. And I've been kind of going through it, and that's
I
been
mean, with
sort
a
of.
title like that.
It's a very flat, like very like that shit is so. I want to say that. How do I describe this? Okay, so it's like Nikopata is like ordering a macchiato and then drinking it. It's like super like cheesy, or not like actual like flavor cheesy, but it's sort of like it's so like kind of you know what I mean? It's like just sugary and kind of like there, right? Like in your face, but like and vanilla and like all of that sort of like lighter stuff, right? It's not black coffee, obviously. It's like that, but you know it's like that because you bought it. You bought the macchiato, right? Um, but it's like fucking this the Disney Devil stuff is like from the outside you're like, oh, it's like black coffee or something like that, right? It's like seeing like a seeing like a cup of like black liquid, and you're like, oh, that's coffee, and you drink it and it's just water, and you're like, that's not what I expected. It's a very like, I think it has around the same sort of vanilla and like lightness and like kind of nothingness as Nekopata, but it's a little bit more disappointing because Nekopata was like very like, it was super obvious that it was like just gonna be that sort of light vanilla nothing kind of thing like all the way through, right? Like it was like flashing. But this one is a very much a little bit like on the cover at least it was just like not that obvious. And then I checked it out and I was like, okay, man. I guess I'm gonna go through these routes, but I'm not sure how much I'm actually going to enjoy them. That was sort of the feeling I got. A little bit unfortunate, but oh well. But yeah, that was sort of my past 2 weeks. I had like a haphazard kind of going through here and there with general media. Rank the A3 routes. I haven't gone through the blonde girl yet, the Stacy, right? But freaking, I still think Tsubame, the one of the main girls in Much Class was a little bit was the best one for me. And again, she's one of my favorite girls, so that it is what it is. But
This guy's biased.
Get him out of here. But I do want to say that the major value in A3 Fandesk, if you know about the voice actors, is hearing Imai Asami. Again, a voice actor known for her work, most notably for her work in Steins Gate, Chris, and as well as the Automaster, Kisaragi Chihaya, and that I think since that's sort of the major value, I would have to say like almost regardless of the route, you would have to just give it to her. You know what I mean? That's just like it's like this, right? If you came to a concert and it's like a whole bunch of artists, and they're probably all good artists, whatever, and then in the middle of it, it's like Beyonce, right? And then Beyonce saying like one, maybe two songs, like they're actual songs. It's not like she just like sang one line to the left. Like they're like, but she sings one or two songs and then she leaves, or like that's the end of her part of the concert. You'd still be like, all right, I think the value of why I came to this concert was because of Beyonce, right? You wouldn't be like, well, man, all these other artists, I get so much value, like they're good, but the idea is like you bought this ticket because of Beyonce, right? You would agree with me, right, Nier?
Beyonce sucks, so no.
Dude, we're gonna. That comment is not supported by our podcast. That was a very dangerous comment to say. That comment is not supported by our podcast. But anyways, that was sort of my past 2 weeks, and I'm gonna be talking about a little bit more about Gleipnir, Gleipnir, whatever, as we go in. But anyways, let's start straight off with Toast.
Huh?
You want to talk? Toast? You want to talk to us a little bit about the series that you want to? One of the major series that you watched this past 2 weeks.
Which one was it again?
Yu-Gi-Oh.
The
Oh,
one with
yeah.
cards.
7?
All right,
The
all
one
right.
with cards in it, yes. The
So,
not Sly Games one.
oh, so I watched Princess Connect, right?
Mm,
You mean
I don't think so.
I think you meant Yu-Gi-Oh.
Oh yeah. All right. I'll do Yu-Gi-Oh. Okay. I watched what number Yu-Gi-Oh is this? 1, 2, 3. Oh yeah. Oh, no wonder, because there's a bunch of sevens. I watched Yu-Gi-Oh 7s. Yeah, it's not good.
Wow, that blue eyes is something. Is that what that actually what it looks like now?
Yeah, that's what Blue Eyes
Damn.
looks like.
Wow.
Is this how this show is animated?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Shit, dude.
It's not good.
What studio did this?
I don't know.
Studio
don't ask-
Bridge.
What do they do?
What have they done?
Oh, isn't it Card Fight?
Oh, what have they done?
They helped on Fairy Tail. They
yes,
did
fair.
the
Best looking show.
Natsuno Bitoku specials. Ooh.
Wait,
Yeah,
what was it?
yeah. They did a Card Fight Vanguard. Which one? Which one's
Um,
G? Z? What? What does this mean?
Oh, they did Nobunaga. Damn, they're good.
Nobunaga.
Oh God, Nobunaga! It's fucking. Don't talk to me. Anyways.
Oh,
Yeah,
they
keep
did
going.
Devil Survivor 2, the animation. Yeah, this studio sucks.
I don't know. Oh, apparently they did what? Card Fight Vanguard G?
I mean, all of like stuff like this.
I
they all
like Card
do
Fight
the-
Vanguard G. Did you see that dude's swirly hair? The main
But,
character
like-
has like a pink swirl in his hair. It's cool.
Like the thing is, especially with something like Yu-Gi-Oh, you're not gonna have a studio that's just like, by the way, we did like freaking, I don't know, like Kimi no Irumachi or something. That you know what I mean? They're all gonna be studios that like frequently do like shonen kind of younger kids shows and stuff like.
Are you saying God damn it, what was it? Dark, what's that one show you're going on about? With the magical girls that are transforming and the songs? Why can't I bring this up?
Symphogear?
Yeah, That dude did Symphogear. The director of 5Ds did Symphogear. What are you
Oh.
talking about? That's not shown inspired.
Well, they can't.
Well,
You
That's
can't.
here's just
That's a director, not a studio.
Yeah.
What? What are we talking about? Bridge? Yeah.
Yeah.
What the heck?
So you wanna talk
All
about?
right. So let me tell you about Yu-Gi-Oh! Sevens. I
Okay.
said this to Dark earlier, but this is basically the little kid Super Sentai version of Yu-Gi-Oh! Okay. Yeah, apparently in the very beginning, what's this guy's name? Yugo? Is it Yugo? Yusho? I don't even remember this guy's name, but it starts with Yuga. Really, Yuga? Okay, his name's Yuga. He the shortest dude. He's been dreaming of building a giant super fighting dual robot Megazord with his friends, and he's challenging this evil organization.
Okay. Well, that's pretty standard these days.
No. What are you talking about, Spire?
You mean the protagonist taking on the evil organization?
No, there's no evil. Kaiba Corp's not an evil organization. Kaiba's just a dick.
why is that guy wearing an evil gas mask?
Yeah. Because
He looks like a fucking Resident Evil at him.
Okay, so in this city, Goha City, there's the Goha Corporation, which controls everything including duels. So basically, it's like the Kaiba Corp of this series, except the main president doesn't look like Kaiba. He looks like a actual he looks like Shocker. You know who Shocker is, right? Kamen Rider. He looks like an evil corporation dude, and all the adults have giant G's on their faces. You know, because in this series, the adults are evil because dueling or has strict rules and whatnot, and they go on this penalty for this penalty system where if you have 6 penalties, you're banned from dueling forever. And the main little kid dude, what's his name again? Yugo? Yeah, Yuga.
Yuga Odo.
Are we
Get
having
it?
trouble with the main characters' names?
You get it? Yuga-Oh? Yu-Gi-Oh?
Series is just that good.
I don't think that's how it is.
Yes, it is.
I-
Yuga-Oh, Yu-Gi-Oh.
I
It
kind
is.
of think it is.
Yeah, I think that's what we're at this point.
Really? I mean, that does.
Yeah, I mean,
Oh my god! All right,
he wants to build a giant fucking dueling mech Spire. I don't really know
But
what
yeah,
else.
so the series starts with him. He's illegally tampering with his dual disc, and he has
Why?
So the main
So
character is
he's
a
fucking
cheater.
Cheating,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's the whole point. He's illegally tampering with his dual disc.
He's like the Han Solo of Yu-Gi-Oh card games. Okay,
You can't
guys.
win. I have infinite life points.
and he gets a penalty, his 5th penalty, and if he gets a 6th one,
His 5th penalty?
he gets,
What the fuck is he doing?
he's well,
Cheating, clearly.
duh.
Yeah, he's just hacking. He's
He
fucking hacking.
hacked his. I assume he hacked his dual disc 5 times, and he failed 5 times. So he's all like, "Oh no, what do I do now?" And then
I guess I'll do it again.
yeah, and then he meets the weirdo, blue-haired protagonist named Rook, because Yuga's going around saying, I'm gonna legally modify my dual disc and make my new rules, my Rush dual rules." And he's like, and the blue dude's like, "Oh, that's interesting. Let me take you down to this secret basement where you can meet this hologram dude, and if you beat him, you'll become the dual king." And the blue dude's like, "But I already got all 6 of my penalties, so I'm banned from dueling, and I can't duel anymore. Yuga, use your last penalty to duel this guy, because apparently regular dueling doesn't work." So Yuga's like, "Oh, does that mean I have to rush duel him? Oh boy!" And then he rush duels him
Wait, why would the other guy know about rush dueling?
because Yuga's been going around talking about it. Because he's like, "Yeah, I don't like the adults and their
And they're actual rules
Yeah.
for a fucking game. I want to play the game where I win.
Yeah,
It's like Calvin Ball. He's just like Calvin Ball.
his reasoning is that the traditional rules are too boring and streamlined, so he wants to make his duels
Fuck the police.
as exciting as possible. Wherever every single turn is pumped full of action, and every turn you can have a comeback, but that's easily solved by actually having a functional deck. And
Oh, I thought you were about to say like having a heart or something.
no,
Like,
but
friendship.
actually having a functional deck and strategy. And you know, in previous series it's always been, you know, I have no cards in my hand and the opponent has a full field. This is my final draw, my destiny draw, whatnot. And you know, that one card comeback that leads into a cool combo? No. Not in this series. He's all like, okay, my deck sucks, so, and I have no cards in my hand. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna draw until I have 5. and I'm like, it's because your deck sucks, bro. It's I don't like rush duels at all. We've had previous formats of Yu-Gi-Oh where the rules have changed. Turbo duels, but that's on bikes. That's cool. Speed duels. Speed duels is kind of similar to this, but it also uses the traditional cards, so it's fine. Traditional cards, 30 card deck. So, but this one, I don't like the rules.
How many cards in a deck do they have in this one? I feel like they would run out
40.
of cards.
That's
okay.
Yeah. Let me explain the rules of rush duels, okay? This is you have to use cards completely separate from original Yu-Gi-Oh, because the ability to draw 5 cards in one turn, it's kind of broken if you use that in traditional format or speed duel format or whatever. Okay, so you start off with 4 cards in your hand, 40 card deck, and you can only have 1 legend card in your deck. That I don't like that, like, rule right in the beginning. So you can only have 1 Blue Eyes or 1 Drag Ears or 1 Seven Rod Magician and nothing else.
So can I ask two questions before we get too kind of deep into the whole like what kind of rules and stuff, because like honestly, like rules in these sorts of games, I'm sorry, like they're always going to be very iffy, or not in games, sorry, the anime adaptation of said games are always going to be pretty iffy at best of times.
What are you talking about? Maybe if you're thinking about the regional season, I guess season 1 of Yu-Gi-Oh, where Duelist Kingdom had really iffy rules. No, after that, starting with Battle City, they had, they actually implemented the real rules into the dueling, so it's all legit.
They had snippets of the
legit.
real. Let's be like
Yugi's still a
like,
fucking cheater. Let's be real.
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, he used fucking
I'm not saying that they don't have
ancient
snippets of the
Egyptian
real rules,
magic.
but like let's be very they are not actual games.
Yeah, they are.
But
Starting. Yeah, they are. We're starting with GX. I'll say they use official trading card game rules. You know, in one of the episodes where that weirdo stole, what's his name, Demetrius, stole Yugi's deck, Bastion was all, oh, that's a banned card he's using, or no, it went something like, oh, in the entire history of Yu-Gi-Oh, there's always been a banned list, and then he was talking about Kaiba's Chaos Emperor Dragon, which is one on the banned list. But there was one similar card that was on the limited list. That was Blacklisted Soldier, Envoy of the Beginning. So I don't know what you're talking about, Spire. It's obvious you don't watch trading card game anime.
well, I mean, I think I've watched. I mean, I didn't watch GX for sure, but I watched enough Yu-Gi-Oh to have my suspicions of how legit they can be, even with the rules.
They're legit, starting with GX and onwards. Yeah.
Yeah, but Yugi's a fucking cheater.
Yeah. No one's denying
Yeah,
that.
well, I mean, like,
Yeah.
Pegasus has a fucking metal eyeball that he can, like, fucking see the future
But
with, so
the 2 questions that I
it
was
all
actually
evens out.
more curious about was first in terms of like the duels and everything, like the action that's actually happening. Is it all 3D CG or what's going on there?
Well, uh, it's a mix of both, really.
No.
You,
Well,
I guess
like
it depends on
the
the
characters
card,
are
right? Like if it's a
characters
fucking
are
character card, it's not CG.
well, I guess the characters in general, like I would
it
guess,
depends. It
are
depends.
line drawn, but
It depends really on, I guess, the character itself. The most ace cards, the protagonist ace cards are rendered in CG. Some exceptions are Dark Magician.
I was gonna say like something like Dark Magician when they play it. I imagine
That
wouldn't
that's
be
not
CG.
that's not CG. But if you got Kaiba's Dragons or something, complicated that moves a lot, yeah, it's gonna be. It's mostly Leia. It's actually mostly the dragons that are CG. Now that I think of it, not the humanoid types. But
okay. So
not-
even like the monsters, there are some that are like not CG, and there are some that are CG.
yeah, but
kind of.
Seven's Road Magicians. Oh, he's CG. The guy with that ugly mug. I'm gonna put up his ugly mug. Where is it?
So when you talk about sort of the balance, or not balance of the game, I meant balance of how the plot is juggled in Sevens. Is it mostly like them running around to find stuff, or like to find people to like? You know how it's like a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh stuff. It's like the characters running from one place to the other to find somebody to duel, right? That's more or less how that like each sort of thing goes, and then they have the duel, and then rinse and repeat, right? Um, is most of the store is most of Yu-Gi-Oh! 7's anime based around them traveling to that location and talking with the enemy there, or is it mostly the duels, or is it, I guess, half and half?
I'm gonna say later on.
Okay.
Most of the series is actually like most Yu-Gi-Oh series actually focuses on the duel itself. These
Right,
duels
because more or less they kind of like center around like you actually have to go through these duels to, save the world or save whoever, right? Kind of thing going on.
sure. Uh, yeah. Are you saying there's more fluff than there is dueling? Is that what you're asking?
Well, I didn't say fluff. I meant like from what I see the Yu-Gi-Oh series structurally, right? And this is
Oh.
almost true for any trading card series. Is like or like anime adaptation is that you have the duel, right? Or you have the beginning and you go off to find somebody to duel, and then you duel them, and then from that person they're pretty much traveling to the next person to duel, right? Like it's mixed between that, and this travel has like all the different like expositions or blah 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 blah, and sometimes the duel episodes have that too, like the background kind of expositions, but a lot of the value obviously is in the duel itself, right? And that's what I'm wondering about, like because sometimes it's like people are, how sometimes people are like, oh man, how come this duel is taking 50 episodes to finish, stuff like that, right? So I'm thinking about wondering about the balance.
That has yet to be seen because this is only two episodes and there's only been two duels. But
Okay.
this is the beauty of Rush Duels, Spire.
Do you think they rush dueling? I guess the rush dueling is like, in a sense,
Let me tell
it
let me
was
tell
well
you.
made for the anime.
Let me tell you. The concept of Rush Duels is a duel that can take place within children's recess time. Okay. The first duel was
Like
set.
Shadowverse.
How short is a fucking children's recess? Like,
It's like Shadowverse.
what
Freaking...
Yu-Gi-Oh
oh, yeah,
duel is taking like a half an hour straight? That's like way too much time.
Really?
it's like a
No.
Shadowverse match.
No, Yu-Gi-Oh matches are pretty long.
Pretty long, man. They can take upwards of an hour or more for just one duel.
Yu-Gi-Oh matches either are like one turn.
Yeah,
one turn
you either
kills,
win
or
in a couple turns or it's really fucking
you win before the match begins, or it takes forever. There's no like in between. that's
Yeah,
the problem.
because the time there was a timer in the first duel of 6 minutes and 66 seconds, or else he'd get the last penalty. Get it.
Wait, that's 7 minutes.
No, it's No, it's
Yeah,
7
6
minutes and
minutes and 66 seconds is 7 minutes and
That's-
6 seconds.
See, you get it. You get it? Because there's a 7. Ah.
Yeah, but
Why?
why did they say 6 minutes and 66 seconds?
Because
why
there was a Goha drone that followed them. He's like, hey, you're illegally modifying your dual disk. You have 6 minutes and 66 seconds until you get penalized. You get it, number 6? Because 6 is before 7. Get it? 666 for a
Truly
6th
is.
penalty.
Damn, this show is good.
Oh my god.
Yeah. And then
Yeah.
the second duel is between the blue guy and our main character Yuga. He was all like, "Hey, Yuga, don't tell anyone about rush duels, you idiot. If you do, the big bad evil parent company will come after us." So he's like, "No, shut up. I want to tell everyone about it." And then the girl's like, "Just settle it in a duel." And then they're like, "Okay, we'll settle this during recess before it ends." Because, rush duels don't take too long. Yeah. But then
Don't tell anyone about rush duels. By the way, please rush duel all these guys.
yeah, and then Yuga's like, haha, I tricked you, even though I lost the duel because I suck. I was secretly live streaming this all over the internet, and then it shows a bunch of YouTube clips of people doing rush duels. And then Yuga's like, I may have lost the battle, but I won the war. Now everyone can rush duel. And then episode 2 ends with the evil company president seeing rush duels and laughing evilly. So I guess they're gonna come after these 11-year-old kids now. Yeah, So yeah, that's the thing.
Okay.
At 11, Yuga is the youngest Yuga protagonist. Second would be, I think Yuya is 14, and what's the guy from from Sexo? What's his name? I don't remember his name.
I'm not gonna lie, like Yuya is like an actual like Japanese name, but it's like this whole like Yuga thing. It's like somebody got hit over the head with a trick. It's like they had to say Yugi or something like that. Like
They're running out of U's. You got you got Yugi,
yes.
Jaden, Yuki, Yusei,
Yeah, like
Yuma Tsukumo, Yuya Sakaki.
yeah, like Yuma, Yuya, Yuki are like all actual names. But it's like what the hell is this Yuga shit? Like,
It's
but
not just Yuga though. It's Yuga Odo. Like
Yuga. Oh.
Toast is like physically hurt right now.
No, I get it. It's great.
Yeah. Anyways, any last words on Yu-Gi-Oh! Sevens?
I don't like rush duels at all. I really
Yeah.
don't.
Okay.
It's supposed.
I can understand that.
Since it's the 7th series.
Mhm.
Yu-Gi-Oh goes in threes. You got Yu-Gi-Oh GX 5Ds in one universe. Zexal,
Okay.
the Pendulum one. Man, I don't even remember what that's. Arc V. Okay, Arc V, and Vrains in another universe. So this is the beginning of a new Yu-Gi-Oh universe. Yeah, I don't like rush duels.
Okay.
I mean,
And
I get it. I mean, I as a Yu-Gi-Oh
No, I
old
think all of us
boy, I'm not gonna play rush duels because they're for little children. During recess,
Okay.
I'll just stick to my standard rules and even speed duels on Duel Links. That's fine, but
Yeah.
I mean, I can't say whether I hate it or not. Like the anime
Okay.
itself, sure, I hate rush duels. Screw that, but the anime itself, it'll probably be fine for little children, I guess. So far, there's not much I can hate on it. I hate the card designs and the card. Yeah, apparently they have to use new
Pretty
card
big card,
designs.
dude.
New card designs for little children, because big numbers and bigger text, so they can read it out loud.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't like any of this,
It's
but
true. That's a fucking strange looking card.
how can you have a series main protagonist that looks like that? That doesn't even look cool.
I don't know. Ask that to Card Fight Vanguard and fucking
But those
Shadowverse.
cards look cool.
Oh, a main card. I thought you meant a main. I thought you said main character.
Oh no, that's a entirely
Like-
different story. But yeah, look at that. Seventh Road Magician looks ugly. I mean, oh, and here's another thing that I don't like about this series. Okay, so you know how each Yu-Gi-Oh protagonist has cards with a certain attack and defense number that's been a staple since the beginning. Let's say Yu-Gi-Oh has the Chimera fusion thing. I can't remember the name because my mind's in a jumble because of Seven. Because I don't like this show. Its attack is 2100. All right. And then you got GX. Jaden's got Flame. What am I saying? Flame Wingman 2100. Yusei's got Junk Warrior 2100. But no, apparently Yuga has 2100 Seventh Road Magician. And then, there's the first ace, then the real ace of your deck has the one that's 2500 attack, Dark Magician, Neos, Stardust Dragon. No. In this one, they split up the protagonist ace monsters. The blue guy Rook, he has the 2500 attack monster. They're breaking tradition here.
Okay.
So there's two protagonists with two different ace monsters. You can't do that. Who's gonna be the rival then? The rival is supposed to have a dragon with 3000 attack, so that means Rook can't be the rival. He's another protagonist. What are they doing? You can't just do that. Even that weird ass Yusaku followed the 2100, 2500 rule. But no, Yu-Gi-Oh! 7 is breaking new ground. 777. Yeah.
Okay. Anyways.
I haven't seen it. Oh, I mean, the only 3000 attack point monster we saw was Blue Eyes. Oh, I get it. I get it. Because Yuga was fighting the Blue Eyes, so he's like fighting the old rules, and the rival is the old rules that has a 3000 attack point monster.
Truly a brave new world for Yu-Gi-Oh.
Well, all the symbolism. Anyways, Toast.
I don't even know what I. Okay, last things. I don't like Rush Duels, but I'm still gonna watch this. I didn't like Vrains at the beginning, but it got better because Yusaku was basically the Yusei of his generation, and everyone likes Yusei.
Okay. Anyways,
I don't like Yuga.
All right. Thank you, Toast, for helping cover.
The show sucks. Don't watch it, but watch it.
All right, Toast. Thank you for helping cover Yu-Gi-Oh! 7s. And yeah, that was Yu-Gi-Oh! 7s, right? So we covered that, and now we are on to something that's definitely not another card game. Nier, what do you have for us?
I watched Shadowverse,
Oh, god damn it.
which is
We're
another
fucking shutting down this podcast right now.
another children's anime but a card game.
Nier, I also watch Shadowverse, and I'll say your anime's better.
Yeah, probably
Probably.
from the sounds of it. It's still not very good.
But it's better than Sevens. That means a lot to me.
Yeah. So Shadowverse is a card game by Cygames. And it is a fairly simple card game. Most comparable to something like Hearthstone.
Okay.
And the interesting thing about Shadowverse, the game, is it has a story mode, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it has, I think, now 7 protagonists. and they all have interconnected stories, and they go through stuff. And this anime is not about that. This anime is a children's show, very obviously a children's show, about our main character who's named
Hero.
yeah.
Get it?
Yeah,
Because
he's
he's the hero.
What do you mean?
he is, what is his full name again? Hiro Ryugasaki.
Yeah, get it,
Um,
Ryu, like Dragon, because he
yeah,
plays
and
Dragoncraft.
he plays Dragoncraft.
Yeah.
Very creative. Yes.
yeah. And he's got big, bright, shiny hair.
He looks like a
he-
Yu-Gi-Oh protagonist.
just like a Yu-Gi-Oh protagonist. And this takes place in some fictional city in the future where everybody's got like hologram screens, but everybody still uses smartphones. And the main character really wants a smartphone. For some reason, he doesn't have a smartphone. Because I guess his grandpa.
Can we note that everybody's obviously playing Shadowverse on their mobile devices?
Yeah,
in,
of course.
in this anime.
Yeah, Spire, what are you going to do? Play it on the PC? You're going to lug your rig around?
Yeah.
Even Yu-Gi-Oh protagonists have dual discs, which is
Yeah. So the main character doesn't have a smartphone, right? He really wants a smartphone. And he is going to school one day, and he gets some mysterious vision from a robed figure that is in the middle of like a desk.
Is this like 22/7 or something?
And behind him,
Is a smartphone.
behind the figure is the Morning Star, which is the thing
Ah,
that
yeah,
shows up in the Shadowverse story, and it is the sign of the end times in the world. And then he wanders into his grandfather's shed, and he finds a smartphone in a mysterious wooden box, and he just assumes it's his, and he takes it. And it just so happens it has Shadowverse installed on it. As a matter of fact, it has 2 versions of Shadowverse installed onto it.
That's how you know it's special.
It has the Japanese version and the English version.
Wait, what? It's just different language? Wait, what?
Yes, it has
I thought. Wait. I thought when you said 2 versions of Shadowverse, I thought you were going to tell me like there's this like magical version. You know,
No.
It's just 2
different languages.
It's just 2 Shadowverse apps, and one says Shadowverse in English, and one says Shadowverse in Japanese.
Okay.
That's how you know his smartphone's special.
Yeah, so he goes to school.
Language support.
Yeah, he goes to school and he goes, "I want to play Shadowverse with you." And of course he gets interrupted by the teacher every time, and he can't play Shadowverse.
Right.
And so, he's doing some chores for his teacher, and then he comes back to his friend, and she's crying, and she's like, "Oh, this guy stole my phone because he beat me in Shadowverse." And
this is straight up rare huntering.
Now.
Yeah.
Immediately, I was like, "Excuse me? This guy beat you in Shadowverse," and he was just like, "Okay, taking your phone now." And you let him
Dude, it was like a pink slip. It's like a pink slip.
Give your money right now.
Rare hunters, you know?
Yeah, and so the main character, of course, goes and he challenges the guy, and he's like, "I challenge you, Shadowverse, and if I beat you, you'll give me the phone back." And he goes, "Okay, but you won't beat me." And of course, it goes into our first duel. Now, I play Shadowverse.
How's it duel? Like,
I play Shadowverse a lot. If you couldn't tell from me talking about it quite often in previous episodes. In fact, I have more than 2,300 hours right now in Shadowverse.
Let me check.
And this anime doesn't explain a single rule.
Yeah,
of Shadowverse.
It's like the opposite of Yu-Gi-Oh. It's weird.
It immediately jumps into a duel. They immediately start playing cards without explaining any of their effects. They start evolving without explaining what an evolve point is.
Do you like character? Do you like?
ramps,
Yeah.
and he explains that uh, he just always I get an extra play point orb. It never explains what the fuck a play point orb is. So I'm not too sure what they were going for. Either this show is for like actual fucking children that like don't give a shit about the rules and just want to see the monsters, or they expect you to know the rules of Shadowverse already. But the duel goes on. They blast through the turns.
Yeah, they completely skipped them, which is
Yeah, they
completely
completely
weird.
skip a shitload of turns. They go up to like turn 9 or something, and somehow the other dude still has evolution points left, right? He evolves some basic ass card, which, by the way, the card sets they're using, I guess they couldn't figure out how to design duels that actually lasted till turn 9 without some sort of OTK combo going on. So they only use like basic cards.
What the fuck?
Like the standard cards.
Yeah, they use like
Okay.
standard card pack and basic cards. Which I'm pretty sure even in standard there were OTK combos, but regardless, pretty much every play they do is like some of the worst thought out stuff you could possibly do, like evolving a ward and then trading it into something really small.
Oh, that was good.
Yeah, and so the duel goes on, and the main character top decks this new original card.
Oh baby.
I don't
Wait,
remember what
it,
do you
it's
remember
the
what it's called?
Ignis
Toast?
Dragon.
Yeah, Ignis Dragon.
wait is the Shadowverse game uh kind of going along with some of the cards and stuff like that the anime is pulling out? I'm just wondering.
No sign of
No, these are
Okay.
all original.
Okay.
As far as I can tell, in the ED, they show all of the characters, and there's like a main character for each craft. In the game, except for Portalcraft, because I guess fuck Portalcraft. Because obviously Portalcraft wasn't around in the standard card pack, so
Yeah.
they just like disregard it. But they show the characters, and then they show like a legendary card for each character, and not a single one of them is familiar to me. So I'm pretty sure every single one of these is going to be original.
Okay.
And they're all busted. So the character top decks this card, Ignis Dragon, and what it does is if he has 2 cards or less in his hand when he plays it, it can evolve for free, right?
Mhm.
And so he evolves it. And the other fact is, whenever it attacks, it does 3 damage to all enemy followers, right?
Right.
And so he clears board with that. And then the other guy who was before playing very aggro deck, suddenly he's pulling out wards left and right.
What is that? Goblet Mount Demon or something?
Yeah, something like
Yeah.
that. And obviously the main character just keeps clearing his wards, and then he gets the chance to just attack him face, right? And apparently Ignis Dragon also has the effect where if he attacks face, he gets +5 attack. For no reason other than the fact that +5 attack is the exact amount of attack he would need to kill the opponent.
Right.
You gotta swing for 10 on turn at least 7.
Yeah. But he top decks the God card and he wins, right? And then the bully's like, I don't even have a phone. So he goes to fight some other dude that does have the phone, and he's a Bloodcraft main, and he's so good that whenever he beats somebody, they quit Shadowverse.
True Bloodcraft players.
Yeah, and they duel.
I can see my Batcraft deck having
Yeah.
done that.
And they duel, and his he pulls out a new original card, and his is fucking broken as shit too. Actually, the second duel is pretty good, I think, because it goes a little bit more into like Shadowcraft rules. Like it explains, or at least it somewhat goes into them. Like the main character plays 1 card that takes advantage of overflow, which is Dragoncraft's main gimmick, where like if they have 7 play points or more, certain cards have special effects and stuff.
Right.
And then the Bloodcraft guy, he does this thing where he plays his card, he evolves it, and then he trades into a smaller follower, just so he can
Yeah.
he can bait the main character to putting him into Vengeance, right? And for Bloodcraft, Vengeance is when you have 10 HP or less, right? And then the Bloodcraft main plays this new original card, which is also broken as shit. And it's a 7-cost 5/7. Where if you play it, you have Vengeance. It just kills 2 enemy followers on the board. Also, it can't be hurt.
Wow, it's an Aegis.
Okay.
That's
Yeah.
broken as shit.
It's pretty busted. It's basically Aegis that kills 2 things when it comes out.
I would fucking quit too if I saw that.
Wait,
Yeah.
what?
This
Wait,
game
how much
sucks.
mana cost is it?
It's 7 cost.
Oh, that's pretty
Because,
It's
you know,
good.
7 cost
7.
5/7 that kills 2 things when it comes out, and it can't
Or-
die.
Thanks for the
And
more
it-
clear, friends.
Now, did you say it gives you what's it called? Or
It's
or you
essentially
have to
Forklift.
be it?
You have to be in Vengeance, but it's
Okay.
like
Either
you know,
way, that's still fucking
for
busted.
standard set Shadowcraft, like that's not hard, right?
Yeah.
And then of course, the main character top decks Ignis Dragon again. And then he top decks another card that buffs Ignis Dragon's attack, and he kills him. And then the Bloodcraft dude's like, "Ugh, you don't even know why you play Shadowcraft."
Ah.
And he says some cryptic bullshit like, "Oh, that card you pulled entrusted its future to you."
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
just silly, stupid shit that you'd hear
Right.
from like children's anime about fucking card games, right?
Right.
But the series goes on, and everyone's like, "Whoa, you beat that super good Bloodcraft player? You must be crazy cool, good, right?" And then it leaves off with him being like, one of his friends says, because the main character is like recounting the duel he had to his
Right.
friends, right? And he's like, "It was super close. I only had 3 life points left, right?"
Mhm.
And his friend goes, "Damn, if he had a Razor Claw in his hand, he'd be dead."
Yeah.
Right? And
That's so good.
yeah, and then
They're like teaching it to you through his friend.
and then they do a flashback, right? And then they go to when the Bloodcraft guy was picking his card, he was about to pick
Oh,
one card,
Good.
but then he picked a different card. And then it's like, that other card that he didn't pick was Razor Claw. He threw the game.
Yeah.
And then the main character is like, "I want a rematch."
Why? Why? No.
Why would he wait when he was crafting his deck? He just didn't pick Razor Claw.
No, in his hand. He
No,
had
he
Razor
mulliganed
Claw
it,
in
yeah.
his hand.
He
And then-
Why
mulliganed it.
wouldn't he
He
use
just
it?
didn't pick it because he wanted the thrill of the game, dude. The
Yeah.
thrill of Shadowverse, when you
Wait, so he just
when you
let him
willingly
win?
throw a game, so it's
You
more
don't even
exciting.
understand.
Oh.
You never get it.
You don't even know why you play Shadowverse.
Yeah, I played Shadowverse to throw out fucking vampires
and
and,
then,
have an entire row of bats, and the guy
yeah.
quits.
And then
That's
the
what I
episode
played
ends
for.
on the absolute gem of a line where the main character goes, "Huh, if he's so good at Shadowverse, why doesn't he enjoy playing the game?" Which I like. I legitimately laughed at because it's like, welcome to the club, dude.
Yeah, was it? What did you say? Like, if he's so good, why does he hate it?
Yeah, and it's like, fuck, bro. That hit home.
That's deep.
But yeah, it's pretty basic. It's certainly a interesting take on the card game children's anime. Because unlike Yu-Gi-Oh, it just fucking blasts through the duels. Up until like the 2 players just top deck their god cards and then they start doing plays. Which I think is a fine decision, especially because they're going with the standard card pack Shadowverse, right?
Mm.
A lot of the plays that you're doing between turn 1 and turn 6 are really interesting, right?
Mhm.
Like there's a point where like both characters play a is Discord working now?
Hello, keep going.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, okay. So there's a point where both characters play like their turn 1 cards, right? And of course they have 1 attack, right? So they're not exactly big cards, but they play those out, and then on turn 2, the main character plays the 2 play point card that does like 1 damage to a certain follower. So he'll kill the follower that the other guy played on turn 1, and then he attacks face with his 1 attack follower, and he goes, huh, "How about that? Impressive, right?" And then the Bloodcraft dude's like, "I can see you're skilled," and it's like, bro, that was the most basic play that literally every Shadowverse player makes on turn 2. Like, so it's understandable that they like skip through a bunch of turns.
So
Um,
what do you think that oh, what kind of audience do you think that this anime adaptation in specific is made for? Is it made for kids? Is it made for people who know Shadowverse and like are just playing it actively all the time? Is it made for um kids that play Shadow? What is this audience?
It's pretty obviously made for children, right? Like
Right.
the
But those
character
that play Shadow,
interactions, the dialogue. I mean, it's obviously a marketing tool, right? Like they're obviously
right,
trying,
right, right, right.
they're trying to get kids to play Shadowverse.
Right, exactly.
But I think in terms of the audience they probably made this for, I think it seems fairly obvious that they kind of either didn't think about explaining the rules of Shadowverse, or they just expected you to at least somewhat understand the gist of Shadowverse. Which it could be an oversight, or it could be uh, just the audience they were aiming for.
Maybe they're trying to spread it out over the course of the whole season.
I mean, it's possible, but usually you think you'd at least give a basic rundown of like what the win con of Shadowverse is, right? Like they don't really go over that, other than the fact that like we have life points, and eventually they reach 0, right? Like they don't even explain how you're supposed to make them reach 0, right? Like they just go, "Yeah, I attack your face," and it's like, "Oh, okay, I guess that's how," right? Like to a newcomer to Shadowverse, it's not really gonna click immediately before they start actually doing things.
Right.
But I feel like the audience is definitely very young children, especially with the way a lot of the characters talk. Like the main characters constantly just going like, "Shadowverse is fun. Shadowverse is fun. I'm having so much fun playing Shadowverse."
Why aren't you having fun? Kind of, that sort of stuff. Yeah.
So obviously they're banking on just being like, "Hey kids, Shadowverse, it's fun. It's a fun card game. You can play it on your smartphone."
It suddenly reminds me of like Dave Chappelle skit where he talks about like the what is it, the high C or the fucking like juice advertisements.
Yeah,
And, like,
yeah,
all
yeah.
the kids are like all like jumping, like fucking like dancing their way to the fridge. Ow, fucking.
Yeah, whoa, Shadowverse, it's fun.
Yeah.
Um,
And the one Yu-Gi-Oh kid in the back is just like, give me some of that Yu-Gi-Oh stuff.
yeah,
Ugh.
but I do think there's a decent amount of value you get if you are an avid Shadowverse player. Like I said,
That's interesting.
there's a lot of corniness to it,
Okay.
which is enjoyable just on its own. But in terms of like the way they play Shadowverse, it's certainly entertaining to somebody who's playing Shadowverse for a very long time. Especially with the fact that they're using standard card pack. It's pretty nostalgic in a way. Just seeing how basic turns used to be.
Right.
But there's obviously it's not like it's not just going to be like all the Shadowverse you've seen before, because again, there's these new unique cards that these characters have that are fucking broken as shit. So I feel like they're probably going to be doing some fairly interesting stuff with those, and the way like some of the cards interact with each other, and the tool set that they use with these busted cards to like make them ass pull out of other combos, right? Because at the end of the day, all the duels are probably just gonna be like the main character top decks Ignis Dragon, he does some bullshit, and then
Heart of Ignis Dragon.
he top decks some other bullshit that gets him the win, right?
Pretty much.
Near.
Yeah.
Every card game has an evolved version of the ace monster. So what? How do you think they'll explain Ignis Dragon getting an evolution? Like
Shadowverse has evolution points.
An evolution as in a new form, like a new card. Will they be like, hey, a new card pack came out, and here's like Ignis Dragon retrained?
I think that would be really interesting if they did like a new card pack coming out in the anime. I think that would be sort of an interesting take. But they'll probably just do some bullshit where it's like,
it evolved on its own.
Yeah, like the card changes because it's linked with the user, and some story bullshit where Ignis Dragon just becomes a 2020 card, and he clears board, and he goes through ward, and he wins every time he attacks, right?
Please.
It'll probably do some bullshit, right? Because it's a kid's show.
Right, exactly.
It would be really cool to see like a new card pack coming out in the anime.
And then it's in the game or something, or what are you saying?
Yeah, like if in the anime, like the Darkness Evolved card pack came out, right? Like,
okay.
Like that would be cool to see, like how, especially because the anime never really touches on like deck building or anything. Like the dude installs or boots up Shadowverse, and he's just like, yeah, I play Dragoncraft. Like he never built a deck.
I am a Dragon main now.
Where'd he get Ignis Dragon if he didn't pull for it?
He doesn't know, like, he doesn't know half the card effects when he's battling.
Wait, Near. That's why he has two versions of Shadowverse, so he can reset the game each time.
Yeah, he's re-rolling.
Yeah, it makes sense.
But it would be cool to see like the new card pack come out, and then he has to like go through a little bit of tweaking of his deck or something, right?
A little bit more on the mechanics, you mean?
Yeah, just like minor, I guess fan service. I guess in terms of like the core, the core workings of Shadowverse, right? Like,
yeah.
At the end of the day,
now you're thinking a little bit more like Tuss, where it's like Tuss also wants to see a little bit more than just what they made for the anime, just like rush through random shit. Yeah, a little bit more.
I mean, it would be cool to see, tiny stuff.
Like oddly enough, that's what Cardfight Vanguard does that Yu-Gi-Oh doesn't. It shows the main character going to a card shop and buying new cards.
Well, Cardfight Vanguard has definitely been through enough iterations so that like the people making it by this time, like they know how to kind of stuff it all in, right?
The only one that done that is Yu-Gi-Oh, like the original, because Yugi's grandfather owns a card shop. And in GX, because dual school.
It's actually a pretty interesting point that you guys made, because I do think that like, even now it's obviously all like on mobile devices. Like there's a thrill of the gacha, but beyond that, like in terms of like trading card games, like it might be a little bit more foreign to, or it might be a little bit more alien to younger people, right, these days. But it's like when trading card games was much less prevalent online, right? It was like, I think for most people, most of the
it's
value,
like a loot box you can touch.
Yeah, exactly. Most of the value was going to the store and getting that sort of booster pack, right? It's like fucking those scenes from Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, where it's like half the value was the fact that they like, oh, here's a fucking chocolate. You know what I mean, right? You know what I mean, right, guys?
Yeah.
It's like the value isn't in getting the golden ticket; it's in getting the chocolate bar that could have the golden ticket. It's a fucking brand new chocolate bar. Oh my god! And I think that's sort of the same with trading card games, where it's like it's not really about playing the game. It's about, oh man, this shiny booster pack came out, and it could have this like freaking cool card in it. That's the value, and I think I don't know. It might be a little bit hard to sell it, obviously, these days because of like the
Yeah.
whole blah, blah, blah. But I do think that the point that Toast raised, where it's like they don't have these scenes and so on anymore, in a lot of these other anime, I think it could definitely have value for sure.
Fucking ironically,
You don't want to
there's
show
now been
Joey
mul-
pulling $100 on boosters for time wizard.
Yeah. You have
They
to.
they have multiple episodes now in Boruto where that's like most of the episode of them opening up cards for a card game they never play.
Exactly. How about we're done here? It's like you just wasted like $1,000.
Yeah, Boruto like fucking opens up like a shitload of packs and he's like, "All right, I got my dad, the ultra legendary version of my dad, the 5th time in a row. Can I get the actual legendary I want, please?"
Right, exactly. Jesus.
But I do love
Anyway,
that they never show them actually playing the fucking game.
yeah. Jeez. Anyways, any last words, Near?
Um, it's all right. I mean, it's a kid show, right? So you can't really judge it too harshly.
Hey,
Mm-hmm.
I think it does its job. It's unfortunate that Shadowverse couldn't get an adaptation of
the actual
the
story.
story that is in Shadowverse.
Yeah.
But there are some pretty blatant allusions that there's going to be some sort of like weird like cross-dimensional thing going on with like the weird like vision he had. There's stuff in the OP that has the Morning Star in it.
Mhm.
I don't think they're going to directly show like characters that are in Shadowverse's main story in the anime.
Mhm.
But they're obviously going to do some sort of like reference to it. As far as being like a card game anime, I think Shadowverse isn't really a game where it can do like Yu-Gi-Oh like turns, so it makes sense that the battles are pretty fast. Um, but it does its job. It uses a lot of sound effects from the game, which freaked
Well, I
me
would hope.
out.
Yeah. Oh wait, what? Oh,
Because-
Like the
okay.
evolution ding, and I was like, wait, what?
Yeah, because like I would be watching the anime, and then like when they start the duels, it makes the sound of like logging into Shadowverse,
Mhm.
and I was like, what the fuck? Do I have Shadowverse open right now?
Yeah.
And I didn't. But there's a decent amount of like trivia fan service stuff that it's like
Right,
if you
exactly.
play Shadowverse, you can get enjoyment out of it.
Mhm.
Yeah, it does its job. It's not a terrible show. It looks fine.
It looks
Audiovisual's
better
fine.
than Sevens, that's for sure.
Yeah, it definitely does. It's done by Studio Zex, which
Oh yeah, I've heard of that. Yeah.
the only thing notable they've really done, in my opinion, is Akunohana. But here we are. It looks okay. I think it's all right. If you really like Shadowverse, check it out. If you're a child interested in Shadowverse, check it out.
Mhm.
Other than that, you could probably pass on it.
Hey, Near, you ready for next episode? It's the Runecraft player.
Yeah.
Do you think she'll play Earthright or Dimension Shift?
God, I hope she plays Dimension Shift.
She better.
I don't think was Dimension Shift was Darkness Evolve, wasn't it?
I thought it was standard.
Was
It's
it
standard.
standard?
I'm pretty sure.
Because
Ah.
also,
I mean-
what is it? Havencraft had Seraph, right?
I think so.
Seraph was Darkness Evolved for sure.
Oh, was it? Okay. If Dimension Shift was standard, then they'll probably just do Spell Boost, right? Because that's
But you
like
can Dimension Shift into Spell Boost, or Spell Boost
that's
into
like
Dimension Shift.
I mean, yeah, that's the core of the deck, right? You Spell Boost and Dimension Shift, and you fucking obliterate the opponent.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing they can do
Do
about
it.
it.
Do it. Everyone wants to
Um,
see it.
I mean, that's like the horror story of like classic Shadowverse, right? So they'll probably just do that. But yeah, it's okay.
Yeah, pretty good, pretty good.
Hey,
Okay.
hey, Nier, one last thing. You like their duel system? Where their bracelet evolves into a
Yeah, where
pseudo
their
duel?
bracelet evolves
Yeah.
into just a holster for their smartphone. Yeah.
What?
Yeah, they have like this weird bracelet thing, and then when they start a duel, it like changes into this weird like gauntlet thing on their wrist, and then they put their smartphone in it, and then that's their like dual disc.
All right, boys, I'm buying that, and I'm getting
Not-
back into Shadowverse.
Not gonna lie. I do have this this leather installment on my phone that I can strap to my arm when I'm playing Duel Links and pretend it's a dual disc. Same basic concept.
Okay, so thank you, Nier, for telling us a little bit more about Shadowverse. I know it's one of the many sort of side games slash mobile games slash whatever kind of anime series that we have, and obviously one of the bigger names. So we are glad to have covered that. And with that, we are on to Dark. What do you have for us?
Well, I have a little show called Nami yo Kiitekure.
Yes,
Or
Wave Listen to Me.
yeah,
right?
Wave listened. Um, so this show is about a woman who has been recently dumped, and winds up drunkenly talking to a guy at a bar, an older guy, and they go back and forth, and she like hits on him, but basically just tells him her whole like story of what happened.
Mhm.
And it turns out that he is a radio host. So he just plays. He was recording the entire time at the bar to try and get anything interesting to play. And so he just plays that one day, and she hears it while working in a restaurant, and writing like blog posts for it, about it. Freaks out and goes to him. It's like, well, we're gonna sit you down in front of this. Uh, how about you talk to the radio instead of talking to me? And then he essentially like hires her. She gets cut back. Like I think she loses her apartment. She gets cut back from her job at the restaurant,
Mhm.
and she just starts doing radio essentially because the guy is like, you have a good voice for radio. We need someone, and it seems like you can tell an interesting like story.
Okay.
So the show starts in Meteor Res, and it's very strange because it doesn't really explain to you anything about what's happening. And it's the main character, Inari Koda, and she's
Right.
standing in front of a bear reading mail questions, essentially, listeners. But what really is happening is they're just, for some reason, making up like these absurd scenarios to put her in and act as if she's in while she's like doing the radio segment, and I don't know why.
Yeah, it's very surreal. I've seen a little bit of myself, or I've seen 2 episodes of it rather, and it's how do I say this?
It's
There's a lot.
surreal,
There's a
but it
lot.
keeps
There's a
pointing
lot
out
of.
that
There's a lot
this
of like
isn't happening.
weird details. Like they just keep talking about stuff, and it's like in this like very absurd, almost level of not absurd level of detail, but in a level of detail where I'm just like, why are you telling me this? Almost, you know what I mean? And then
Yeah, I'm.
and then it kind of doesn't really have anything to do with the story. So it's like it kind of feels like to me like they're trying to just like set this weird pace, but the pace again has nothing to do with the story. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't. I really don't understand what the deal was with having her like fight a bear and eating males. Like they don't. I watched all 3 episodes. I skimmed episode 3, but they never really, me, as far as I saw, establish why that even happened. Like I think
Right.
they're just trying to game it for like the story, essentially. But
Yeah, I have no clue.
it's not. I don't know. It's very strange as to why they decided that. I don't know how the manga is, but it would be. It wouldn't be like maybe it translates better in manga, but the pacing here seems very odd, especially because it takes a lot of screen time for this. And yeah, like you said, they like cut back to the studio and they're like, "Oh, do we have any bear sound effects?" Some, no, we don't. We weren't prepared for this part and shit like that. And but like, what the fuck is even going on? Like,
Yeah, that's the thing.
how
It's
is this like? How is this leading to radio trivia? Like, it's one thing to have a series that is just absurdity, right?
or even just
Because
like the
that's what we
trivia.
thought.
It's not like you or I hate that sort of like trivia kind
No,
of
I
thing going
don't
on.
mind trivia at all, but
Right, exactly.
I don't want absurdity and then you're gonna throw grounded trivia at me. And it's like this weird fake absurdity, right? Like
Right.
what we compared this to when we saw it initially was visuals wise and also like comedy wise from TV was Hinamatsu, right?
Right, exactly.
What a fucking insult to Hinamatsuri that was, looking back. But it's very strange because like it's like none of the absurd stuff is real, right?
Right.
And they try and do like this strange visual absurd comedy, but it doesn't really work well until like be a part in episode 3.
Hmm.
But it's also hard as fuck to follow, right? Like I'm on episode 3 and I'm like, I don't really know what this is supposed to be about. I don't know what they're trying to do because there's not enough radio trivia yet. And 3 episodes in, there should be a decent amount. There's not a lot of real drama and there's not a lot of like actual like character interactions. Like so far we've had, yeah, her ex broke up with her and she's still fucking pissed about that. Um she's like flirting and like saying like innuendo and like raunchy jokes with like the radio host producer Matao,
Hmm.
Kanetsuga Matao. Yeah, he's like an older guy.
Right, definitely.
And then she's like hitting on like the younger guy that's like driving her to the radio studio. It's like I don't know what they're trying to do, right? Like I saw like the description for this series is romance, or the genres is comedy, drama, romance, insane. So far, there's been mostly comedy. I don't think it's landed very well because I don't think having absurd humor, but constantly pointing out that this isn't a real thing that's happening is fucking kind of obnoxious. Especially when there's visual jokes later on that they don't do that with. So it's just
I mean, I just think it works
bizarre to me.
like if series was literally just like a very episode.
Oh, I think Discord's dying again. All right.
Can you hear me? Yeah. So if this was like a very, very sort of episodic, like a very, very episodic thing, and then like later on, like episodes 5 through 8 or 8 through 12, they like introduce a little bit more like overarching kind of character development, right? And then like at the beginning, it was like all very, very like this is just about the radio. This is just about saying funny things on the radio or like talking about random trivia topics on the radio, and it was set up obviously like that. I think it would have been a fine series to go into, right? Or if they started out by firmly establishing what the hell was going on, and like what sort of everybody's sort of setting was, and then the series became more episodic, that'd be another thing, right? Then it would also
Yeah,
be fine.
well,
But it's like
it-
right now, it's just like it's not really explaining the setting. It's
yeah,
not really
what?
explaining the setting, and it's like I feel like, as you said, it kind of wants to be they want to have this sort of overarching character development somewhere in the story, but they're like, yeah, but we also got to have funny radio trivia, right, guys? So they're kind of there's this fucking like radio trivia humor like train right on the railroad on the tracks, right? And it's just like bursting through everything, and there's no leeway, there's no like other room, or there's no other thing like that can kind of get in. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah,
like
it,
if you're going to tell the story, tell the story, and then do episodic style or whatever. But don't be like, yeah, there could be the story, and then like do random stuff. You know?
yeah, and I mean in general, also it's like I don't- and I feel bad saying this because this is like a fucking the second thing this dude's ever directed, but I don't know if this is a director issue or if this is just how the actual like thing is the
Right,
manga. Because what I would say is the biggest thing: decide what you're gonna do in a fucking episode before you do it.
right,
Like
exactly.
there should be like, do you want to open on? First of all, if you're gonna open in media res, don't make it fucking like 10 minutes long because that's not that. It just got confusing. I checked multiple times to make sure I was on episode fucking 1. I was like, how long is this gonna be?
Right, exactly.
And if you're gonna start in media res, you don't start doing like the absurdity, like everything your show is gonna be about.
Right,
Like,
exactly.
don't hit us with drama, comedy, and trivia all in this one scene. That's like fucking 7 minutes long for some reason. And also, yeah, just pace that out. Like, you can't have, and I don't know. I don't want to say like you can't. But in this case, it's like not working where you have these scenes of absurd humor that immediately have like trivia cooked into them too and
Right,
throughout them.
exactly.
So it's like, why would you put that in there too? You know, like do the absurd thing, have that be its own thing, then have like a calmer thing, post that or something, and talk about like radio stuff if you want. Like
Mhm.
having it all happening at once is like it's overwhelming and it's kind of just annoying because it's not as enjoyable to get hit with like that much stuff, right?
Right, exactly.
It's not as enjoyable because you can't really digest you getting, info on. You can't really enjoy the joke of, oh, she's getting chased by a bear, or like the absurdity of, oh, she's getting chased by a bear while reading user emails and she's like fucking reacting to them at the same time.
Right, exactly.
But then to immediately cut to them in the studio, like, oh, do we have sound effects for the bear? No, we're gonna have to like modulate dog cry or something like that, like what we have on hand. And you go over a little bit of like the mixer board, but not really, and then shit like that. And it's like you can't cut to that and then cut back to the bear again. Like what the fuck? Like this is way too much on top of cutting to her in the studio.
Right,
Like
exactly.
you have honestly, it would
Set
have
it
been
up
a
first.
more
Set it up
interesting
first.
yeah,
Set it
it
up.
would have been a more interesting scene to me if they started with her in the studio.
Right, exactly.
Then as she's going through the um scenario, then it starts showing you the bear like in the woods and stuff.
Right, exactly.
And you see that and you get, you know, I think I don't know. I also don't want to go too far in that though because that may have happened and I might have already forgotten. It actually very well could have opened in the studio. I don't think it did though. I think it opens with the bear.
Okay.
But regardless, it's just a lot going on at once and not enough time for any of it, right?
Right,
Like
exactly.
it's very bits and pieces of trivia that would be nice if we got it in like here's our trivia section. Um, because if you've never done anything on radio and you've never seen any of this shit, you're still not gonna know what the hell they're talking about, even when they drop it, right? Like
Right,
they
exactly.
might tell you you push this button to do this thing, but you don't know what that is anyway. So it doesn't really matter. Like, um, and also you have that on top of like her doing the restaurant shit, on top of like them trying to do some weird absurd comedy with that, and like that's real. That part of the absurdity is like real, with
Mhm.
like the head chef being some fucking like nomad or something. Not a nomad. He's like I think he's studying under like
Well,
fucking
the point
master or
is
something.
that
I
just
don't know.
adds more trivia. It's not really like
It's like, well, that's adding
it's not
trivia,
like
but it's
a
also adding absurdity. And it's like, well,
right,
that's
right, exactly.
real, but the radio shit wasn't. But also,
Right.
like, is it real because they're cutting to like a weirdly looking scene? But it seems like it is. So
Yeah, and again, the main point you're making is that it's like you're always wondering like what is the value of the thing that they're telling me in the anime,
yeah,
right?
and
It's like should I be focusing on this? Does this matter? Like what's happening here? Kind of thing,
I don't
right?
want to say oh the absurdity isn't funny, right?
Right,
Because
right, right.
I'm not
But you're not
super
like, but you're
into
not
that.
sure what to focus on. That's the thing.
Yeah, I'm not sure what to focus on, and I'm also like we have the absurdity, but since in most cases, in all cases I can think of in this show, well, maybe not the chef, but in most cases, like all the absurd comedy isn't real, right?
Right, right,
So when you have that, then you have like actual drama in in this character's life. What am I supposed to take away from that? Like the absurdity isn't that funny anymore because it's not
right,
even
right.
fucking real, right?
Right,
Like
exactly, exactly.
you can show me that realistic visual of her running from the bear and fighting the bear, but she's not actually fighting a fucking bear. So the visual might be funny, but you drop that and now it's like, yeah, my fucking boyfriend of years or something broke up with me because he thinks that there's a lot of other hot girls in this city that he could get with.
Right, exactly.
Um, so it's like the absurdity is not that funny anymore because it's not a real thing that's even happening to this character. Um, I would say comparison to Hinamatsuri would be apt in that sense that the absurd humor in Hinamatsuri was happening. That
Right, exactly.
was what made it funny. Like these were very absurd scenarios that were literally happening to these characters that were in dramatic situations, right? Like
Mhm. Like it was just like a supernatural mix, but again, the idea was that they set it up. They like obviously some of it was in media res, like them just kind of like meeting together in the first place, but the who the characters sort of were, right? In general, like the general grasp of who the characters were was already kind of set up decently.
yeah, I mean it was you have this Yakuza guy and then all of a sudden there's like a fucking girl in a
Supernatural,
pod and you're
right?
like,
Right, exactly.
what the wait, what? And it's like that's obviously happening. But there are also scenes where it's like he has to have Hina or Hina like takes out an entire other Yakuza like family's hideout for him.
Right, exactly.
But the reason why that worked was because it was doing crazy shit at the same time. Like she was
Mhm.
just throwing guys out of windows with her like uh
And it was very deadpan.
telekinesis and they
It
were
was
yelling like ouchie when they
right,
fucking
exactly,
crash down to the floor. Um
and it was very
so like
deadpan.
that worked. Yeah, yeah. I mean it was like it was fucking silly.
Right.
Um but the actual context of that is it's very heavily implied that what's his name, the main Yakuza guy, like executes that leader after. So it's like that would have been a very dramatic moment if they didn't cut it with absurdity. But it still has to be something the characters are experiencing, I feel, for that to be effective, right?
Right,
Like
exactly.
once you start saying all this absurd shit, it's all in their head. Like that's not that's not really helping anymore.
Right. It's just it was. I like what they're talking about, but I really don't like how they kind of set it up.
Yeah,
Again,
I
it's
mean, I
just
think the content of this series could be good. That's why I'm saying, like, I think it is actually just a director issue. Even if this was from the manga, this is not how this should be paced out to begin with, because
right,
it's
right,
just
right.
it's too jumbled. It's not what you would expect. Maybe a manga works a little better because it might have even have been broken up into different chapters or something, where
Hmm.
like, you know, the bear part is a chapter and the in studio during or post that is another chapter or part
Hmm.
of a chapter. So there might have been a more better defined uh, split between the two, but
Hmm.
overall, it's just to me, it's just kind of landed flat. Um, and yeah, I don't know what they're trying to do with the main character and like any sort of romance. I really don't,
Yeah, I
because
think
she like flirts with like half of the cast, but like
as far as it's concerned, I think the central plot in this series is just out the window.
yeah,
At
I
this point,
mean
it's just out the window.
that's what I mean. It's like, is this supposed to be focusing on the drama of her like losing her job essentially, or having her job cut back and having to essentially move into the radio studio? And then it's like, if she's moving into the radio studio, A, why didn't this happen in episode 1
Right,
instead of
right,
episode 2, or no,
right.
episode 3? And B, is this at least going to lead to more trivia? Because we haven't had much trivia in these 3 episodes, and it seems like this would be what you would also want from this series, because you're having a character literally now move into a fucking radio studio.
Yeah.
So for me, it's more of like, what are you trying to do? Because it's been an almost even split between drama, absurd comedy, or attempts at absurd comedy, not really trivia. I would say radio content, because it's not a lot of trivia. It's just more of them doing shit, but
Hmm.
not really descriptive of what they're doing. And if it is descriptive, it just becomes more of like, you know, tell a story on the radio, or like, the radio. It was hard to come back after, you know, I started producing TV or something like that. There's
Yeah.
shit like that, but it's more of an even split. But there's so many things going on that, and the split isn't um linear, right? Like it's not one after the other.
Yeah.
It's all throughout. So I just don't really know what the series wants to do or what it
Yeah,
wants to be in that sense.
it's too jumbled. It's too jumbled, and it's very unfortunate. I think maybe part of it was the directors or people who are on the storyboard or whoever kind of just going for like this weird like very mellowish jose manga kind of like where it's like yeah we're just kind of feeling things out. We're just being kind of unconventional, just kind of doing things in the anime. Like you might be a little bit uncomfortable, but it's like there's a difference between making somebody uncomfortable with how with an uncommon approach and the approach just being like, yeah, all right, like what's going on? Just can you just tell me like what's going on? Can we just move on with this? You know what I mean? There's like a difference between
Yeah,
something being inconvenient,
there's
something being
two.
uncomfortable and inconvenient. You know what I mean? There's
Yeah,
a difference.
it's just like there's too much shit I'm trying to think about at the same time here. It's like, is this scene going to be a radio scene, an absurd scene, a drama scene, or a comedy scene with romance and like
Mhm,
raunchy jokes? Like what am I trying to fucking experience within the next like minute or two, right?
mhm, mhm.
It's very, because it can, and you can't even say, can't say your brain off, because this is like the opposite of that even. Because if you turn your brain off and you half pay attention to this, you are not going to know what the fuck is going on. Like you aren't going to have any semblance of a fucking idea of what is happening.
Right, right, exactly, exactly.
Um, so I'm probably going to watch more of it just to even see what the hell happened.
Mhm.
Because as of right now, I don't know, and I don't get it. But I want to see more, I guess, in that sense. The audio, strangely, like the audio visuals are fine. They're fine to good. Some scenes are a little but I think overall they're pretty good. Um, the Yeah, I don't know. I don't even really know what else to say about it. I feel like I said everything. I wouldn't really recommend it very much, to be honest, because
Yeah.
I, I don't even know what the hell you're supposed to get out of it. Um,
It's,
I would
again,
say,
it's very unfortunate.
yeah, it's like I would say, if you thought this looked interesting, watch Hinamatsuri instead. You'll probably get out
that is
what you
actually
wanted
true.
from that. Like,
That is actually true.
I mean, the comparison we had was apt, but this is
Yeah.
like what would happen if you fucked it all up,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like Hinamatsuri managed to juggle a lot, um, and yet make like very heartwarming and sad scenes funny, like and wrap that up really nice with comedic relief, and the same with like drama and just the pacing. Whereas
Mhm.
this is kind of just where something like that would fall apart, where it's like the comedy like it's almost like it's trying to be funny for us, but it's like it's not funny for the cast, so it's not fun. Like
Right, right, right.
it just feels strange.
It's just kind of going through the motions of something being surreal. But again, just because you're surreal and just because you're doing something uncomfortably doesn't mean it's good. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's and not even just good. It's just a matter of the characters like having not an awareness, but having a part in that, right? Like we're being shown her fighting the bear, but her character isn't experiencing that at all. Like that's not supposed to be a thing that's actually happening.
Right,
So
right,
it just turns into a scene where it's like, we're seeing something that would be funny, but since it's not even in the context of the show anyway, like who fucking cares?
right. Mhm.
The
Yes.
more important thing in that entire scene was that they didn't have an audio file for the bear and that she was ad libbing more so than she was fighting a bear because the bear doesn't matter
Yeah. Again,
anymore.
very, 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 very unfortunate. I was kind of looking forward to this too. So,
I was too. I genuinely thought that this was going to be like a very weird, bizarre comedy where they were doing crazy over the top shit for radio,
mhm.
which I think would have been fine. I mean, hell, I even think that just drama and visual comedy and romance would have been fine. But the addition of amount of things they're trying to do is where it starts to fall apart.
Yeah. Oh, any last words?
Um, not really. You can check it out if you want to, but I really wouldn't recommend it at the very least till it's done.
Mhm.
Because Lord knows you won't understand what you're even supposed to be caring about and where this series is going to go by episode 3. So you should probably wait till the end because if the series literally doesn't go anywhere, then it's just going to be a massive waste of time.
Yeah. Oh,
Do
Kind
you,
of
do
sucks
you do
because
you
the
think
main character's design is cool.
full,
Simple,
full Yankee. Yeah.
but cool.
do you think if she played Shadowverse, she would play Forest Craft because she has a bear?
No, if she played Shadowverse, she would probably like fucking. I don't even know what she would play. She'd probably play
Dragon.
Dragon.
What about
I don't even
Shadowcraft?
know.
uh,
Shadowcraft.
no, she feels like a straightforward type. But anyways, thank you,
That's
Dork,
true.
for
She's
helping.
straightforward. That was
Yeah.
another thing too. They
So
were like, they
Swordcraft
start
then.
talking about how like, oh, her character type
Uh,
is like guys, like she's so straightforward. But like, who
oh
would
yeah, the
really?
stereotype stuff.
What
Yeah.
kind of guy would really want that?
And again, also that
But it's like,
that sort
wait,
of
yeah, the entire. Hold on, before we get off of this,
Yeah.
You remind me of the stereotype part. There's an entire bit where she's like, I fucking hate stereotypes, and like my fucking
well, that
ex
ties
left
back
me.
into how she broke up with her
Yeah, but it's
boyfriend,
like,
right?
is
But then
that
again,
what
that's
we're
also
caring about?
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
we're
exactly,
caring about her
exactly.
breakup or the
Especially
radio or
like
her job.
because especially since it doesn't focus on it, it like focuses on it at the beginning, and then it does a whole bunch of like random stuff, and then it goes back to the stereotype stuff at the end. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's very strange as to like why are we caring about like what is this stereotype thing now on top of her doing right? Like, isn't it enough that she's losing her job and now she's being forced into absurdist radio? Did there have to be a romance bit? Or if we're doing the romance bit, isn't the romance and her losing her job and being going into radio and having radio trivia more than enough to also having weird visual absurdity?
Mhm.
I mean, if you want to have small bits of visual comedy, then fine, but you can't have a majority of this weird absurdity that isn't even real.
right, right.
Anyway, that's the closing statement.
Anyways, thank you very much, Dark, for helping to cover Nami. What is it, Nami?
Nami
No
o Kiitekure.
Yeah, Nami o Kiite kure, or the way you've listened to me. And very unfortunate that it turned out to be a clusterfuck like this, but
Yep.
Can't have everything turn out perfect. But I guess I'm up last.
So Spire,
and-
tell us about your favorite YouTuber.
How about not? Anyways, I'm going to be covering Gleipnir. So Gleipnir is it's actually been one of the more hyped up series of the season, I would guess, because it's all dark and people needed something dark to jack off to after.
Whose react stream did you watch for it?
Yeah,
Be honest.
Spire.
I don't watch anybody's. I've already
Oh
fucking watched
my
Well, look
this
at this
or
guy.
read this manga. I
He
hate this
thinks
shit,
he's
man.
fucking incredibly smart.
so
Spire's the
people
real
needed-
dark and edgy and true to life.
yeah, I'm the dark version of the anime nerd. But what is it? People needed something to jack off after Brynhilder in the Darkness or Goku Goku no Brynhilder. If people know that,
I thought.
people remember that series.
What about Parasite? How old is Parasite?
Parasite wasn't that dark. Parasite, like, I mean, it had darker themes. It wasn't like constantly like we're all gonna fucking get executed in blood and more blood, and the girl next to you is also bloody and stuff like
I
that.
mean,
It
in
wasn't
that sense, it's more
Wait,
similar to like when people call fucking what is it, Tokyo Ghoul an adult series.
Yeah, exactly. That's sort of
Like, not quite.
or Elfen Lied, right? Is like the sort of archetypal example, right?
I mean, really, how can you compete with Elfenlied? No other anime has a scene where fucking toddlers beat a puppy
how
to
many
death, right?
how many views does that one scene have where it's, you know what I'm talking about, right? Where they take the pet or whatever. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah. How many views does that have on YouTube?
What
At
about
least
what about that one scene where Nipa stabbed herself in the was it Nipa who stabbed herself in the side of the head with a knife? Right? That's Higurashi, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that.
But yeah, people just needed stuff to watch after Goku Goku no Brynhilder, I guess.
Was that the one with the chick who had like a gun company and the
No, this is the one where it's like the different
What
girls had
series
like
was that?
weird powers, and they were all like, they were all like not they weren't part of they were like part of experiments, I think. And then there's this one dude who like telepathically communicated with all of the girls or some shit like that. I think that was how it worked.
what?
But yeah, so Gleipnir is a series drawn by Takeda-sun, who I actually knew before Gleipnir, and part of the reason why I checked out Gleipnir at all, because I usually, if you guys know me, I usually don't check out these sorts of series, is because I knew this artist's artwork from before, from a series called Haruto Natsu, which is
You read that too, you weirdo.
do you mean weirdo?
Weirdo.
What's
That's
so
a weird
about
series.
it?
It's weird. You like
Wha-
that?
What's
I liked it, but it's weird.
I mean, this series
what's
is pretty
weird?
fucking weird too. So
What's weird about? It's just a regular rom-com
No, it's
series.
not. You got the weirdo yandere normal girl, and then the weird flirty one. But they're
you
both
just hit
weird.
me with
They're
like
just
3
they
different
have different.
descriptions
I
that
don't
didn't
think
make
I don't
a lot
I don't
of
think
sense.
girls having different personalities is not a weird series.
A weird series,
I don't
bro.
know.
You
I
have
found
a
it weird.
tsundere normal
Don't-
girl.
yeah,
I mean,
then-
I thought you'd say something more refined and civilized, like Arute Ippo or something. Not Haruto Natsu. That's my thing.
anyways, I knew this sort of artist from before. It was pretty familiar, and I started reading it. And I'll talk a little bit more about the general talk about Gleipnir now in a couple of seconds. What was I gonna say? Fucking the series itself, the anime adaptation rather, is done by Pine Jam, who is most famous for doing the Just Because anime and the Getsuyobi no Tawa, right? It's that studio who did Tawa on
Mondays.
Tawa Mondays, yeah, Mondays and Just Because and stuff like that. They also did Gamers, I believe, but
Gamers.
the general sort of audio visuals, the visuals are okay. It's like it, it's
It
serviceable.
looked like
It's
the
not,
fights
It
were like
kind of
pretty
looks
alright.
like the art style.
yeah.
Kind of.
It's not like yeah. It resembles RSL. It's fine. Like it's very serviceable, but it's not like I'm not like it's no like Fate Stay Night kind of stuff. You know what I mean?
Which
but,
one?
Heaven's Feel movies.
Dean. I thought you were gonna say Dean, and I'm like, wait a
Yeah,
minute.
Deed. It's a
no
very high
Deed.
standard of Deed. Yeah. But it's serviceable, which is fine. Like there's nothing to be held against it. But audio wise, it's not very impressive. It's trying to do this like there's this weird thing going on where it's like a lot of the story. It's like the background for the story is very like like more like countryside or like yeah, it's like countryside Japan and like schools, and there's usually not that many people or like and like lonely apartments and stuff like that. And they're and and like the people are usually like in fields and kind of just like again in like sort of countryside Japan. And then suddenly these sorts of like electro B like electro like kind of like grind like dubstep kind of these sorts of like synth tracks and stuff like that come out. I'm just like, I get its action, but
It's
I'm
synth
not
because
like,
it's dark, bro.
yeah, it's dark. But I'm just like, I'm not sure if these tracks are like OST fits very well with the general scene. You could have kind of just made it a general sort of dramatic add the strings, do whatever. But I feel like the audio was a little bit off. As for the series itself, again, the reason why I'm covering this early on is because I've read it, the manga way before. Like, let's see when this fucking stupid shit come out. Like 2015. I probably read this like, I think I read it I might have read it like 2016, 2017 or something. I don't know. I don't know when it was like there, but I read it like 3 years ago. And the general plot, I'll make it real quick, is like there's a regular dude, glasses, he's very shy, blah, blah, blah. He has a superpower, he can transform into a monster that's like a huge like mascot costume with a zipper down his back. He also has a gun he can use as a weapon, but if you zip down his back, it's completely empty inside. And
Bro, that's deep.
yeah,
It's like Five Nights at Freddy's deep, man.
yeah.
Freddy's. Fuck you,
What does
dude.
What does it mean?
and then he gets caught up, or he gets kind of like entangled in the affairs of this other girl that comes in, this blonde girl who's like, sort of bewitchingly kind of like beautiful and blah blah blonde and mysterious blah blah, called Claire, and Claire is just like, hey, let me fucking get in you, let me get in you. into
Wow, I
your
wonder what
cutscene.
that's supposed to mean.
You remember
then-
that
and then-
one episode of Invader Zim where Zim was afraid of that health teacher scanning him for organs or something? So he started stealing the organs of all the other kids. So he become real human. Is that what this show's about?
No, although that probably has a better plot. But so she gets in him, and then they have like better sort of sync, and then they can kind of like do like the mascot costume powers up, or she has better control, or whatever the fuck.
Damn, I love
Dude.
Evangelion.
I was gonna say, bro, it's fucking.
Yeah, it's all of the series that you ever knew, like where it's like
I
they
fucking love
the
Darling
girl-
in the Franks.
But
bro.
it's
The girl
dark.
gets in the guy, or the guy gets in the girl, and then they sync and do whatever the fuck, right? And then they have to go around, and the overarching sort of game that's going on is that everybody's trying to collect these coins that are actually like alien, like parts of like alien evolution DNA kind of thing. And if you hand them to the originator, the sort of master alien, right? He can grant you your wish or give you powers or whatever the fuck. It's very vague, and I'm gonna
They
get
already
into the
have
vague part.
powers though. Why do they have powers?
They're going to give you more shit.
More
Damn.
power, bro.
It's two
Holy
powers.
Shit.
and then if you I think if you collect like all the coins or something like that, he like no wait. Okay, I think they give you power, and then like the coins, you have to collect all the coins, and then he gives you like this one wish, and this one wish can be like fucking anything. It could be like, I don't know, like it could be like resurrecting somebody or whatever, the usual like genie wish or whatever, right? And then like everybody involved like gets this one power from an alien, from the originator alien. But I do think there's something involved where it's like the more coins you collect or whatever, the more power you actually get. Like I don't think you actually I don't think you have to necessarily turn them in, because they are like part of like the alien DNA or whatever the fuck it is. It's all very like confusing. But either way, so it's a general like power struggle, right? It's like the survival game, like get all the coins. If you have all the coins, you can get the wish, and along the way, people get the powers, fight with the powers, do all this garbage, right?
So hold on.
Yes.
What is the Gleipnir? Because we all know that Gleipnir is that one fancy chain that holds Fenrir, right?
I actually forget what it is in Norse mythology.
I just said it's the fancy chain that holds Fenrir,
yeah.
and it's made out of impossible objects or something.
Yeah.
So is that why he's the Gleipnir? Because he's the impossible Five Nights at Freddy's.
I think
Impossible.
I think the Gleipnir thing is referring to the fact that he's so as this is not in the anime yet, but as the manga keeps progressing, they show that he's the main character is part of, well, okay, at the beginning of the story, they're like both of the protagonist and the blonde girl is chasing after the alien, obviously, and the coins, blah blah blah. That's like a side thing, and the alien to find out more, and they're also chasing after this this black hair girl that was sort of involved in both of their lives, and is thought to have sort of disappeared, right, along with the alien, and that sort of like thing is there, and then later on, if after they catch up to the black hair girl that's related with both of their lives, they talk to more people who are in on the survival game, and then they talk to some other people who have more information. They find out that the main character is sort of part of this like everlasting cycle of like he gets close to destroying the original problem, that like creator girl, and before he can destroy her, he fails to do so, I think, and then he like erases his own memory instead because he fucks up, and then the cycle repeats all over again, and then he chases after them again, and blah blah
What
blah.
does he get out of erasing his own memory, though?
And then he's like trying to like, I think the idea of the Gleipnir is that he's like
He
sort
gets
of
to make more chapters of the manga, idiot.
Yeah.
Shit, dude.
I think the Gleipnir is referring to the fact that like the main character is like chaining himself, and that because everybody else is always like every time like some new information comes along, they're always like, you're more powerful than even you realize. Than even any of these powers out there. I'm just like,
Whoa.
all right, can we?
So if he's the Gleipnir, does that mean he has the powers?
No, he's
of
not. He's not the Gleipnir. I think the stuff that he's doing is the Gleipnir, right? Like the stuff that he's doing to hold himself back from like ending the cycle or like killing the girl or whatever. I think that's what's referring to the Gleipnir.
Oh,
I'm not
I
sure.
get it. There's a girl because one of
The girl is like the originator of the problem, along with the alien.
one of the ingredients to make Gleipnir is the beard of a woman, so that's why there's a girl
I don't
there.
think that's part of it.
So
That's a good guess. But,
so now we need what is it, the footprints of a cat, the roots of a mountain, the spit from a bird, and the breath of a fish.
anyways,
Fish breath.
So I think a lot of people kind of look at this and they're like, wow, action blah blah. And I mean, at this point in the game, in terms of like watching anime stuff like that, I don't begrudge people for liking the action, whatever, right? But I've never quite understood whether it's Koku no Brynhilder or Tokyo Ghoul or Gleipnir or whatever, where it's like I don't know. It just seems very like I don't want to make it a meme about this and tease people about it too much, but like I think there's like a seed of truth behind the whole like I'm 13 and this is deep kind of meme. You know what I mean? And it might also be the fact that I've read too much of the manga ahead of time, but it's just like a lot of it's just very like vague and it's like, you know, it's alien DNA, but then once we give it to the alien, what will happen? But the alien, he's holding the secret grudge inside because the humans are the ones who fucked him over. But then the humans hold the secret power that nobody even knows, especially you, the protagonist, and then the protagonist, blah 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 blah. And it's like, can we? I'm not like, come on, like we can talk about hatred and love and holding ourselves back and protecting human lives without doing this whole like dance. We don't have to break out fucking Breaking Benjamin record albums, right? CD album, and cry and scream. I think it's this sort of setup of the vague powers, the alien and the coin, the cosmic universe, and the alien he hates humanity because maybe they betrayed him or they killed off his love or whatever the fuck, right? And then the protagonist has secret power, and then he has amnesia, and then the blonde girl also has the history, and then the blonde girl goes in him, and then they're all sticking together, and then the girl represents his cruelty, but then the protagonist also has cruelty inside him, and this thing is not like it's not impressive to me, mainly because it's not concrete in any sort of way. It's not really novel to me in any sort of way. It's not coherent to me, certainly, in any sort of way. And a lot of this I know is kind of just going to go off into a thing where it's like, everybody's kind of like the main character, the alien, the girl who's the origin of the problem or whatever. They're all going to meet in some sort of like end game purification sequence and then kind of blast off into the heavens, or the main character is going to be, at his desk studying in school, whatever the fuck at the end, right? And I'm not particularly impressed about whatever is going on with the powers or whatever. So, I'm sorry to disappoint any person listening that might be fans of, these sorts of dark series like Goku no Brynhilder or Gleipnir or Tokyo Ghoul or whatever the fuck. But this has just been my opinion for the longest time. If you kind of just shit around, just being like, it's so dark, man, the protagonist is hiding so much anger. All right, I'm gonna go in you. your superpower represents your. It's because it's empty, just like you. Blah blah blah. Like all this sort of stuff. Very on the
Humanity has
nose.
roots in Japan.
Yeah. This very like on the nose stuff that ultimately goes nowhere. Very like I'm gonna wave the steam around and then not kind of apply it in any sort of decent sense. I've never been impressed by it. I'm sorry to break it to the 15-year-olds, the 16-year-olds that might be listening in, but I wouldn't recommend this series. I don't know. I read it a long while ago. I was impressed by it back then, and I'm not impressed by it now. So
What?
unfortunate.
But what if you like virtual YouTubers, Spire? Would you recommend this series to them?
No, I know some of them really like this series, and I don't quite understand why. But
This got sponsored. That's why.
for the Pine Jam sponsor.
The only reason I'm watching this series is because my favorite Hololive trio is watching it, and they're also streaming it. So it's like, hey,
Okay.
I'll
But
do it.
yeah.
Why not?
Yeah. But yeah, I'm not impressed by it, and I'm probably not gonna be watching it. But yeah,
Watch it with me, Spire.
I can't do that to myself.
If not with me, then watch it with Sencho.
Anyways,
Probably Aqua. Actually, I think Aqua. likes
Watch it
the
with
most.
Matsuri, bro.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's pretty much all I had to say. I don't really enjoy these types of series. Obviously, you guys can tell. It's not really the fact that it's like super dark or anything like that. It's the fact that this I don't know why I say
Implication?
inflammation. I mean implementation. Implementation is specific. Yeah, the implementation of how things are dark is usually not particularly coherent. Again, it's like this whole like alien DNA that evolves, but you're empty, but you're also holding the darkness inside. Like this whole thing, I'm not. Yeah, I've seen this sort of jigging song kind of too much.
Sounds to me more like you just don't get it.
Yeah, I need to be more adult to get it. Sorry, but yeah, that's pretty much all I had.
So you know what that means, Spire?
But
It means Nier and I won this round.
maybe,
Of watchable shows,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean,
maybe. But
guys
yeah,
got pretty lucky.
yeah. With that, we are going to move on quickly to the news. These days, just like a kind of warning beforehand, obviously, because of the global occurrences or the global events these days, we're not going to have like a lot of like new things happening. Wow, boom, like coming up for obvious reasons, right? And we're going to have a lot more sort of like things not happening, so to say, right? So, first off, this I think should be a surprise to nobody. I would say that has been, kind of had their sort of ears on the ground for the past, I want to say, 5 to 10 years, right? 5, 7 years, right? But retailer Rakuten is listing the cover for the May issue of Kadokawa's Dengeki Bunko, which states that the issue is the final issue of the magazine. So Dengeki Bunko, the paper version, is ending actually with the May issue. The magazine will officially ship on Friday. The listing does not clarify if the magazine will continue in digital form or if it will be suspended. So this actually started on 2007 with a digital edition in 2014, which is actually pretty early for its time. Dengeki Bunko, that is. But obviously, this is pretty interesting because Dengeki Bunko, one of the bigger sort of general, how do you say it? The general sort of franchise like magazine on sort of company under like anime media franchise under Kadokawa, right? And it is, I don't know if it's getting a digital edition or not, but this was a long time coming, and it kind of just shows how again Kadokawa, Shueisha, Shogakukan, like everybody is kind of just moving on to the sort of just digital edition stuff. But yeah, so that's one thing. This is a pretty funny thing, and not like a major topic, but a thing that did appear in a couple of news places that I want to point out. Reuters reported on Friday that e-commerce platforms in China have removed Nintendo's Animal Crossing: New Horizons, the latest entry in the Animal Crossing game franchise, after pro-democracy Hong Kong activist Joshua Wong used the game for protests. By the way, after saying all those keywords, this podcast is also banned in China now. Wong began posting screenshots on Twitter last week of his in-game island decorated with a banner that read, "Free Hong Kong, Revolution Now." I believe also along with this news, China kind of had this like new law or new regulation that like prevented Chinese people from playing multiplayer games with like other people, like with overseas people now, I think, right? Like wasn't there this regulation like that?
I think the way it works is like
Is there
they
like
don't.
blacklist the game?
It's like because you know how most typically Chinese games, right?
Mhm.
If they're online, they have
Mhm.
like their own server, right?
Right, exactly.
But for games that don't do that, like say for example a mobile game, right?
Mhm.
Usually there's not always a Chinese version of mobile games,
Right,
right?
it'll be like some
But
like C country or like maybe Russia service or something like
yeah,
that.
but you know, Chinese people can still access those games, right?
Right.
I think the way the law is right now is like you can be punished for playing games like that,
Mm-hmm.
which is pretty fucked up. But
Yeah.
you know, China's China.
Yeah.
Hey man, at the same time, I don't gotta fight dudes with fucking 300 millisecond pings in Call of Duty anymore, so that's
A lot of
pretty
people are
good.
also
I mean,
like,
they're still going to play games,
Yeah, well, I'll fucking report them, alright?
but yeah.
just spam Great Wall like time.
Just make my name the Tiananmen fucking copy
Yeah.
pasta.
But yeah, a little bit unfortunate. You know, not too surprised. This is, I think, one of the bigger major news. Sony announced on Friday that Sony Corporation of America will pay about $400 million to buy 17.3 million shares of Chinese streaming platform Bilibili. The purchased shares will account for around 5% of the Chinese company's stock. The companies plan to collaborate on projects in the Chinese entertainment market, including
no.
animation and mobile games, after signing their business contract.
They
And
want
again,
that
remember,
VTuber money.
well, I don't know about specifically VTuber money, but in general, Bilibili has been a major stepping stone in Japanese stream content. I would say in general.
There's a lot of
Whether
people in China that have a lot of money.
yeah, I mean, there's just a lot of people in China there. Period, right? That's available as eyeballs, right, for the Japanese
disagree.
audience who were started in YouTube or started in Nico Nico, right? And they kind of just want more eyeballs for marketing or the ads or whatever, right? So yeah, the company Bilibili was founded in 2009 and is China's largest streaming platform for Japanese animation, above Tencent Video and Qi. But stuff like this, Funimation obviously also hooking up with Bilibili earlier on. But Sony, I'm not surprised at all. It'll be interesting to see how it goes.
So
The thing
Funimation's
is,
gonna get that oh no, they're gonna get that Chinese manga money.
the interesting thing is the power balance, right? Because it's like I feel like Bilibili is obviously sort of on the better end of this power balance, although Sony could be kind of seen as sort of the sort of the more flexible, bigger company, right? In a sense, but Bilibili, in terms of what they're working on, right? In terms of allowing Japanese streaming content people to really properly reach the Chinese market and stuff like that, right? They have sort of power. So it'll be interesting to see how the power balance unfolds. And I don't know whether I'm excited about it, but I'm definitely keeping an eye on it for sure, so to say. But yeah, that's pretty much all of the news we had, regular news we had today or these past 2 weeks. Not a lot, again, because of global events occurring, most like company stuff. Moving on to some people news. anime historian Yasushi Watanabe passed away on March 27th at the age of 86. He worked at the Mainichi Shimbun newspaper researching Japanese and overseas animation. He co-authored the Nihon Animation Eigashi, or the History of Japanese Animated Film book, with Katsunori Yamaguchi in 1977, and the Gekijo Anime Niju. Sorry, excuse me. 70 Nenshi, or 70 years of animated feature film book in 1989. Blah blah, and doing all these other sort of anime history books. So please wish his family and friends condolences. Next, a little bit of happier news. Talent agency 81 Produce announced on Saturday voice actress Yoshino Aoyama Yoshino is returning to work after her medical hiatus. Aoyama will gradually return to the voice recording due to work cases where only she or a small number of people are in attendance. So she did stuff in Wake Up Girls, Love Tyrant, she did Guri, I believe. She did Seton Academy, she did Natsunago, stuff like that. So a lot of smaller stuff. Had to kind of have a hiatus in early March because of health conditions, but now she's back. Please wish her a speedy recovery. Next, film director Obayashi Nobuhiko passed away on Friday due to lung cancer at the age of 82. Obayashi received a diagnosis of stage 4 lung cancer in August 2016, and he was given 3 months to live. Nevertheless, the director, nicknamed the quote-unquote cinematic magician, lived nearly 4 more years, and reportedly said that the Tokyo International Film Festival in November 2019 to make films for another 3,000 years. So a lot of different stuff. He did a lot of live action film adaptations of stuff like Drifting Classroom, Shona in Kenya, and The Girl Who Loved Through Time, and stuff like that. Please wish his family and friends condolences. This is a big one. The next one is a huge one. The Air Agency announced on Thursday that voice actor Fujiwara Keiji passed away due to cancer Sunday, April 12th, at the age of 50. Fujiwara had gone on hiatus from voice acting on August 2016 to undergo medical treatment for unspecified illness, but gradually returned to work in 2017. I believe the Japanese, he passed away to cancer, but he's known for characters such as Hiroshi Nohara and Crayon Shinchan. That's like the father figure. Holland and Eureka 7, Hughes, Full Metal Alchemist, Leorio 2011 Hunter x Hunter anime, Axel Kingdom Hearts, Reno Final Fantasy 7, ACDC, JoJo, stuff like that. Kagura Mutsuki, Blaze Blue, Eugen, Grand Blue Fantasy, and the Japanese dub voice for Robert Downey Jr. as Tony Stark in the Avengers film. So please wish his family and friends condolences. Again, a very prolific and very big voice actor in these times, and fortunate that he did pass away.
Shit sucks, man.
Yeah. And last but not least, obviously, Italian indie software developer Invader Studios announced on Twitter on Friday that voice actor Paul Haddad had recently passed away at the age of 56. Invader Studios did not reveal his cause of death. So Haddad is perhaps best known for his role as Leon S. Kennedy in the 1998 video game Resident Evil 2. He voiced, background characters in other anime, like Metabots and stuff like that, and other sort of animated series. Please wish his family and friends condolences. Just gonna go over a couple of quick things, or just gonna go over general kind of things that are also happening because of the sort of the global occurrences, right, occurring. Japan, obviously right now under a general state of emergency. I believe it happened starting almost exactly 2 weeks ago, right? Pretty much like on the Sunday after our last podcast, right?
Yeah.
State of emergency eventually became nationwide. It started out as a couple of pictures, eventually became nationwide. So everybody's kind of under quarantine in Japan as well. And a couple of people are down with the disease, or a couple of younger people are down with the disease. Hayami Kentaro, Yamashita Mami, Komiya Ryo apparently has recovered, which is good. There are a lot of things being put on hold, a lot of anime that put on hold. Sazae-san, Anpan-man, Kinnikuman is going on. Kinnikuman manga is going on hiatus. Hokago Teibonishi, I believe, anime, which is the season, is delayed. A certain scientific railgun, T, is being delayed. Appare Ranma, this is a big one. P Works Appare Ranma is being delayed. Some Kodansha is delaying their magazines because of this. Evangelion is being delayed, or the new Evangelion film, right? As well as a pretty interesting new film. Words bubble up like soda pop. Saida no you ni kotoba ga wakiagaru. This one I actually am kind of interested in seeing, but again, it got delayed. There's some other stuff that films that got delayed. Anime Expo 2020 has been canceled. San Diego Comic Con has been canceled. Prince of Tennis musicals and some other live action musical blah blah stuff over in Japan have been canceled, and a lot of other stuff. So everybody's kind of locking down. Very unfortunate, but we have to do what we have to do to maintain the health of everybody. So understandable, and I hope that this passes over as quickly as possible. But yeah, that's all the news that we have for today, and we are on to the last segment finally, and it is our callouts and shoutouts, or shoutouts and callouts. Everybody here gets one shoutout and one callout each. The shoutout is one thing that you want to praise, you want to talk about. 5 out of 5. Give put a like and subscribe, so on and so forth. One good thing, and it can be any person, place, or thing. And call out obviously is the exact opposite. Rage about it. You want to write hate mail to it. Hate tweet, whatever it is. 0 out of 5, -1 out of 5. Whatever you want to say. It can be any one person, place, or thing. And we will start with Toast.
Oh, okay. My shout out
Shoutouts.
is to Tokoyami Toa for getting 100k subscribers.
Okay.
That means now everyone is above 100k. Yeah. Yeah. Also, yeah, okay. My shout out, call out, yeah. To YouTube for banning Pekora right at the end part of MGS3, where she learns of the good stuff. Just because the YouTube algorithm mistakenly thought the nighttime CQC was something else, even though it was, but it really wasn't.
I feel like it was the music more than anything.
Maybe
It was pretty delayed. It was pretty delayed for it to have been the CQC.
We missed out on her reactions to the big reveal at the end. That was important.
It's okay. She restreamed it, and
What was it, 3 hours of super chats after that? That was cool.
yeah.
Yeah. I think that's it. Yeah, I'm good. Is that
Okay.
it?
So, Nier.
I'm just gonna do my call out first.
Okay.
I'm gonna call
it's
it
gonna
on
be
System Works.
here we go.
Holy shit, dude.
Let's go.
Guilty Gear Strive fucking sucks cock. Like, I didn't want to be the one to be, one of the naysayers. It's like, yeah, Guilty Gear's fucking dead and shit, right? But Strive sucks. I don't really know how else to put it. It just doesn't feel like there's much thought put into it, right? There's so many changes that don't make sense. There's so many aspects of the game. Just I don't know who they're for. Like it's just bizarre, right? Like they changed the Gatlings, right? Which has I guess a philosophy behind it that is understandable, but in practice it is unintuitive, it is unfun. There's the changes to the air dash, which I mean are like acceptable changes, but again, they don't make sense. I don't know what the change is for. I don't know what the purpose of the change is. I don't know who that change is appealing to. The lobby is dog shit. It's unplayable, honestly.
It's not good.
You will stand there ready next to somebody else who is also ready, and the game just won't connect you because the game just decided not to connect you. And a lot of these things I'm seeing, people are like, oh, it's a beta. They'll fix these things, right? No, right? Like
Yeah, it's
It's gonna
the
be
game,
my call out.
the game right now is in a state where Arxis is like, this is polished enough to the point where we are willing to show it to the public. We are willing to let the public get their hands on it. And like this is the direction of the game that they are intending to take. This is the state of the game that they are willing to ship out with, of course, some tweaks, right? So you can't sit here and tell me, oh, it's a beta, they'll fix it, and then say that like the state of the game, the way it is heading, the way it is right now is fine, because it's not. It is structurally flawed. It is barely functional in some aspects, and it is boggling the mind to see this and have Arxis be like, yes, this is our flagship title. This is the title that we are working on the most, the hardest. This is the title that we are like it's like full steam ahead, right? The game barely works. It's fun to run at somebody and fucking counter hit them, and the screen explodes with flashing colors and sounds, and then you do 50% of their health in a combo. But can the game survive on that? I don't think so.
yeah.
I think if this game is like this at launch, it's dead on arrival. I don't see this game appealing to scrubs. I don't see this game appealing to casuals. I don't see this game appealing to veterans. I don't know who the audience is for this game. I don't think Arxis knows who the audience is for this game is. It's just a mess, and it's really disappointing because I love Guilty Gear, right?
We played a lot of it.
And like the game is fun to play, right? Like there's a good game in there somewhere, right? But right now it's not a good game. I think if people don't, there's two aspects to it, right? If people don't take this survey seriously, this game is going to die. And if Arxis doesn't take this survey seriously, this game is going to die. I think there's no way that the first version of this game at launch is going to be very good. I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm really wrong. But I don't see this game coming out in another like 8 to 10 months and being good.
Yeah. Very unfortunate.
Well, with the ongoing situation, it's gonna have to be like if they want to ship out physical copies at any decent rate, they need to pretty much be done with it to get it out this year in the next few months at best. Because you gotta remember, like even Naughty Dog had to indefinitely delay their game apparently because of shipping. So now that could be inaccurate, and that could have just been an excuse by them, but can't imagine that getting games shipped out right now is an easy.
Yeah.
It's no. And your shout out?
I don't know, man.
The Shadowverse anime.
Things fucking suck lately, dude.
You gotta find something good inside of you, Nier. Just like the opposite of Gleipnir.
Near
Yeah,
the
it's not like that bad.
Shadowverse anime. Do it.
You don't need to jump in, Nier.
Shadowverse.
You don't need to jump in that empty mascot shell of yours.
yeah. I mean, I could shout out Shadowverse, but Shadowverse is also really unbalanced and shit right now. So, fucking, I don't know, man. I'm gonna shout out. You know what? Fucking, I'm gonna shout out Fate Grain Order because I rolled for Atalante Altar a few weeks ago. I don't know how long ago it was. And I got 3 of her, so that's cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. Pretty good. I guess I'll go next.
Near, hold on. I have near. I have a question.
Yeah.
Who would win in a fight? Cloud on a motorcycle or Saber on a motorcycle?
Probably Saber.
What about Lightning on her? What was it called again? What are those summons called? Eidolon?
Eidolons, yeah.
Who'd win?
Versus who?
Saber. Not Cloud. Cloud's already
And
out.
Cloud.
Yeah. You know what? Yeah, Saber and Cloud on the same motorcycle.
Which is your list?
Versus
here, bro?
Lightning?
Yeah.
Probably Saber and Cloud.
Lightning's actually fucking Jesus. So sorry, buddy.
Not when she has an Eidolon. She's still just a normal person with 13.
So near what is the stronger motorcycle? The Fenrir or the Kawasaki 900? I think that Saber has.
Probably the Fenrir.
Really?
Probably.
I mean, it's a lot faster.
Saber has a Kawasaki.
Is it? The
Yeah.
one I think it's a Kawasaki. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
She enhanced it with her wind magic.
Oh, that's why it looks like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I was gonna say, I was like that thing doesn't. Not a thing.
All right.
Alright.
Anyways, I'll go next here. But
Sorry, what's your shout out call out?
all right. Thank you, Toast. I think my shout out is going to be. So I think my shout out is going to be actually all the voice actors and all sort of the Japanese voice actors like opening up their own like YouTube channels. I think everybody's it's like a weird combination. I think it's perfect storm. So I think what's happening is like first it's like Ogure Yui and Nana Mizuki was on a talk show once, and they actually mentioned this. But along with when they were along with some other voice actors, they were mentioning this. But apparently the Japanese voice actor community, although there are a lot of people in there, like works in like relatively like they're pretty like small like band of community. They're small like tight knit community. So they like once like some sort of like news kind of like spreads, they like all like they all kind of get the news like by the end of like next week or whatever, right? So
Gee,
it's like
that sounds
there's
like
this one
something similar.
there's this one thing where it's like I think like I think Nana Mizuki had like a thing where she like paid for a seance or something like that to like think like to explore her past life or whatever the fuck, right? And like literally that news like traveled around, and in like a week and a half or something like that, apparently Ogura Yui went up to Nana Mizuki and she was like, oh, have you heard about, have you tried doing a seance recently? I've heard that. I've heard that, like, voice actors and everybody else is kind of like, checking it out. So I thought you might be interested. And Nana's just like, I'm the one who started that. So it's a very like tight knit community. So that plus the fact that there's the younger generation who's used to doing YouTube, whatever, all that stuff, and the fact that there are now there are a bunch of successful examples, right? There's what is it, Mai Shimami or something like that? Who the one of the Banduri, the Bang Dream girls, right? Is it Mai Shimami? Yeah, it's Mai Shimami and Hanai Natsuki, and there are a whole bunch of like these like different voice actors who like run these like channels, run these YouTube channels successfully, and then they just play games or do whatever. Nakashima Yuki is another famous one. I think Nakashima Yuki was actually a voice YouTuber person before she became a voice actor, which is pretty interesting. So there are a lot of people, but nowadays, like a bunch of like people are just kind of coming, like big names are coming into the YouTube scene, and part of it obviously could be the quarantine, but I think a lot of it's just like this sort of sudden like, oh, everybody's doing it, oh, I should do it too, kind of thing. You know what I mean? So, in the recent weeks, and I mean like recent weeks, and maybe even like a couple of months for something. Yeah, I think a significant factor. So Toku says in the chat, it's a worldwide thing, and I agree that there's a significant factor of it is the quarantine. But I also think that for especially for like the Japanese voice actor thing, like they're really kind of like dogpiling into it because it's a very like perfect storm kind of setting up for them, and the quarantine was sort of the thing that tipped them over the edge. So it was like, in the past couple of months, I think in the past like 3 to 4 months, I think Yukina, very famous for voicing stuff. One of her most famous stuff is CC from Code Geass, obviously, and a bunch of other famous voices. There was, what is it? Imai Asami, as I mentioned before, right? Voiced Chris Makina and Chiaki Saragi. She started doing stuff recently, although like recently it's been like all like makeup and like introducing her cats and stuff like that. And there's Sugita Tomokazu Sugita, infamous for his voice in Gintoki, obviously. And then he's like his channel is about like, oh, like here's some like cola that was popular 30 years ago when I was a kid, and now I'm just gonna drink it on my channel. It's like really weird. And then also Kaji Yuki, I believe Kaji Yuki also opened a channel, and obviously Kaji Yuki, I don't think I even need to introduce, but he's voiced like every protagonist character in like the past like 10 years. Okay, like I don't know what to say, right? Aaron Yeager, right? So a lot of these people are kind of coming out and kind of, and I think this is the key difference between something like a virtual YouTuber and a content creator versus a voice actor that I think people are starting to get, right? Why do these just like random YouTubers and VTubers, and I agree that virtual YouTubers are good at like maybe they're good at drawing or they're good at singing or whatever, but they're clearly less talented in these fields than an actual singer or an actual voice actor, stuff like that. So why are they becoming so popular? Why do they have so much value?
Says you, buddy.
Yes, apologies. So why do they get so much value? And I firmly believe the obvious thing is the interactivity, right? The fact that you can interact with this sort of quote unquote star, right? The fact that you can be like, hey, how's this like? Or the fact that, yeah, he does. I've actually, he's actually really famous. He has like fucking 200,000, 300,000 followers. I like actually, Toku says in the chat, the common writer, the Kabuto actor, has a cooking show on YouTube, and I actually found that while I was like going through like cooking, like Japanese cooking channels, like ramen and stuff like that, making ramen and stuff like that, and I actually chanced upon his channel, and I was like, whoa, okay. And it was like a lot of this sort of stuff is going on, and again, it's like it's about the interaction, right? Because usually with like voice actor stuff, it's like you don't see, but it's like, or you see them on the screen, and the big sort of thing is the wall. But now that it's becoming interactive, they're realizing the value behind allowing that sort of interactivity, right? So definitely shout outs to that. My call out, I could have had it to Ditzy Devils, but I chose not to. I don't think it's worth it. It's just mediocre. It's not really something to call out. I will call out people who, how do I say this? I want to call out people who accept mediocrity is how I think I want to put it.
You mean
right?
like Yu-Gi-Oh! 7s? Oh!
I think if you, I'm gonna try to make this as vague as possible. But to the people who know me, I think pretty obvious, like the kind of stuff I'm talking about. But it's like, I think you can find fun in any. You can find fun in doing anything for. I don't know how long you'll have fun doing it, but you'll certainly find fun doing anything, whether it's watching anime or playing a game or whatever, right?
Or beating your head with a stick.
Yes, you can find fun in a lot of stuff. You can find the silver lining in a lot of stuff, but I think you should always try to harshly criticize. And when I say harshly criticize, I don't mean just be like, fuck it, like you're bad kind of thing, right? More like this is bad and this is bad and this is bad and this is bad. Because I just kind of I've always sort of lived with that mentality where it's like, if there's something bad about it, criticize it, right? Like just say it. Just say what's bad about it, and then we can fix it and we can move on. And I think that's a better method than being like, oh well, on the balance, it could be blah 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 blah, blah, and trying to make these sort of fuzzy justifications. And I hope that, as time goes on, more people are willing to not only say these stuff, but the people that are being criticized or the people that are watching the criticism says, okay, yeah, let's go with that. We need to fix this, instead of saying, no, but like, come on, we need to stop having these but moments. Like, we can do better than this. We have to do better than this. That's how improvement works. So I hope that in the future that more people that criticize and more people that can stand criticism. Honest criticism, obviously, we can't just be like, yeah, it's just shit. And then if it's like, if that sort of criticism is bunk, it's bunk, right? But if the criticism is honest, then we should allow it. So that's what I think. So that's my call out. People who can't take sort of these waves of criticism, even if it's subjective. But yeah, that's my shout out and call out. Last but not least.
Not last. First of all, I think Toast didn't, right?
No,
Toast
Toast
went
didn't.
first.
Toast went first. Damn, dude.
I don't have
Anyway,
that terrible.
sure. Shout out. I'll shout out. You know what? I'm shouting out what I've been playing this whole dang time, and it's Fallout 76.
Yikes.
Now, this game, I was really drunk and bought it first without looking at any reviews. How bad could it be? Then I bought it. It wasn't good. Very bad. It was fucking terrible.
Crazy.
However, it apparently got even better and better. Though there were updates that just straight up broke everything. But what happened recently was release the Wastelander update on, I believe, April 14th. After being delayed for quite a while too. And the Wastelanders update added, get this, NPCs to the game. Imagine that. Well, human So raiders that fight you, just factions that fight you, and also quests and small town locations and everything like that. And I've sank, I want to say, close to 20 hours so far back into the game, and it's been really good. I haven't run into any problems yet. It's been what people are saying, played the games from the beginning, that it's the most stable and significant update they've released. So that's honestly a good sign because it's fun. It's Fallout, and it has a better, what a lot of people are saying, it's got better dialogue and better, like, essentially, like, theming for your character than Fallout 4 even had. Because, you know, you're not a speaking character. You're not, you're not, like, really anything special. Like, you were in a vault, you came out of a vault, and now you're trying to help the overseer, like, heal people from this, like, plague, essentially. And that's it. You're not, like, you know, trying to find your fucking kid or anything like that, like far. So I've been liking it quite a lot.
Okay. And then
Um,
your call out?
I think I'm gonna just follow up yours, to be honest. Very similar, talking about, especially with criticism and, you know, not particularly talking about any, and I don't know why I said particularly anyone. I'm not talking about essentially our own Discord
Hmm.
when I say this, but the it's only a beta, you know, sort of thing is pretty bad. I saw it happen with a lot of games. I saw it happen more specifically, World of Warcraft Battle for Azeroth, the worst fucking expansion they've ever released. And a lot of the sentiment was, this is so bad, but so obvious that, you know, it's only the beta. They're not showing us everything. They'll fix it in the full game. It wasn't. And people did that with the alpha. They were like, oh, it's only the alpha. Wait for the beta. The beta comes out and nothing was fixed. It's like, don't worry about it. It's just the beta. They'll for sure have it done for the full. And then it wasn't.
The thing
Uh,
is, it's like also I want to say that like people like once like a general like major idea for the game has been set, or like the major sort of structure for the game has been set, the or even not even a game, general just media, right? The the difference between initial kind of showings of it and what happens later on is very, it's not minuscule, but it's small at best, right? Like the stuff like say like the Sonic the Hedgehog, like the live action stuff, right? Where it's like there's actual like revamp, and people were like, "Wow, you guys literally like legit like fucking like kick some asses to get over there," right?
yeah, I mean, you also have
Like
to keep in
that's
mind
the
though that
that's
they had to delay that, right?
yeah,
Like
yeah, exactly.
if a game is in beta and you're giving it feedback, but it's like the amount of shit that needs feedback is huge and it doesn't get delayed because and it already has like a hard date. Like, I think Guilty Gear in this sense is a little bit different because it doesn't even have a date. It's
Mhm.
just a window. So if say they said, "Oh, Guilty Gear is coming out," I don't know, like November, or September, October, like it doesn't really matter. It's just a matter of like they said it was coming out that date and they have these systems in place. Unless they delay it, those aren't changing.
Yeah.
So I do get that. The issue that I take with it is just I saw it happen with that game, and it just turns into a thing where it's like, you know, you already said this feedback. It's like, well, if they didn't say, like, if the developers don't come out and say, hey, we're changing this for the upcoming update or something like that,
Mhm.
keep giving that feedback until it's acknowledged. Keep giving that feedback over and over and over again. It doesn't
Mhm.
matter how fucking annoying it might get and how circle jerky it might sound. If it's something that you think is good, other people agree, and it's not being acknowledged, there's no reason to stop bringing it up, essentially.
Uh,
Um, because you don't want to run into the scenario where just saying over and over again, oh, it's only the beta, they still have time, something like that, and then it never gets fixed anyway. The other part that I was gonna say too, that most recently came up was what you were talking about with the inability to also like take in feedback and criticism.
Yeah.
Saw it recently with a podcast thing where they had a Warframe that people were running a Warframe developer on,
Mhm.
and there was a lot like the major issue. There's a lot of major issues with Warframe, but one of the things that's happening as of late is like, people keep essentially having to scream about things and like make it the end of the fucking world to get any changes they want done in the game. It's a lot of like kind of bullshit in a way because it's like, you just want to have, let's say most recently was, oh yeah, we don't want self damage in the where you fire an explosive and you can just one shot yourself. Because it's just not fun, right? Like this is
Right.
a game where you have character like the warframes themselves that can nuke entire rooms. They don't deal with self damage. So why would I take a gun that does, right? I'll just take
Right.
something else. Um, but what they did was they added a stagger system. And the stagger system doesn't damage you, but you can like tech essentially out of your own knockback if you stagger yourself too hard. If you fire like an explosive gun too close to you. Now that's fine. That was an alternative that was suggested by some people. The thing that wasn't fine was after they took in that feedback, they decided to go, oh, well, what if we also just added stagger now to these guns that didn't even have self damage before? And it's like, why are you doing? Like, why would you do that? No one
Right.
asked for that. And then in this podcast, the developer basically like was almost out on the verge of like tears when he was saying how it's like, it's hard to take in these things and there's a lot of like, vitriol essentially. And it's like, yeah, I get that, but you have to understand that it didn't start out this way. Like
Right. Exactly.
it didn't begin like this, when the community asked for something called universal vacuum, where pickups would just suction to your character. People wanted that on everything because before it was just on one pet that you would bring or one like drone thing that follow you. But people wanted to take their like cat like pets and their like dog attack pets. But they couldn't because it doesn't come with this ability that sucks up all the loot to them without them having to run over it, which is a pain in the ass in that game. So they asked for universal vacuum. Instead, what we got was a mod for those pets that didn't have it.
I think also
But what I will add too is that the developer, quote unquote, they were getting death threats about that. But it's like you have to understand that it gets to a point where you have to look at that feedback and say these people just want it and we can't come up with an excuse to not have this in the game. So just put it in. No one said like, oh well, I want a mod for it. It's like, no, just put in the universal vacuum. Like there's a baseline there, just increase that, right? And you can't be surprised when shit goes really south when people ask for something, hear nothing about that feedback, and then you act defensive when like maybe
people
a
get angry.
handful of people and hundred thousands of people playing the game send you a death threat, which amounts to like a tweet to you saying, I'm going to fucking kill you, right?
Yeah.
Like
Oh,
you didn't receive a mail letter with your fucking home address and like, I'm going to kill you, right? You received a tweet or an email at
yeah.
best. Like that sucks, but you have to understand at least what caused it to get to that point.
I just again, uh, it's and I don't think that like obviously devs need to listen to everything that everybody says. Nor
I
do they
mean, I
need to
think that they should
respond to it.
listen to it.
Or sorry, add excuse you, implement everything that everybody
Yeah,
says.
yeah.
Nor do they need to
Obviously,
respond like the second that somebody says something. Like they can
I,
obviously take some time to mull over it, right, and then respond maybe in however whatever the
well,
reasonable
I
time
think
frame
in
is.
general, if it's something that's big enough, you should respond immediately. You should respond immediately saying that you see exactly what they're talking about and you're looking at it. You can't
Well,
have radio silence until you decide,
yeah,
because
the
then no
radius.
one
Yeah,
knows if you see if you're
Yeah.
even seeing it or if you
Yeah.
care.
What I'm saying is the reasonable time frame. Like it doesn't have to be like within 5 minutes of somebody posting a Reddit thread, or like
No,
maybe
yeah,
within
but
24.
it's like
They should
if
be within like maybe within the week. Like somebody should say something.
yeah,
Like, yeah.
you just say like,
Um,
hey, we're actually like we see this, you know, like it doesn't take time to say we see this.
mhm. But it's very again. I think I think taking criticism is obviously a general good life skill, even if you think it's unfair. And also, I think what
I
is
mean,
it?
it's easy. It's easy to say from a spectator point of view, like, oh, you know, just
Yeah,
listen to
yeah,
these
yeah,
people,
yeah.
just take the criticism forehead. But
Yeah, I mean,
I think the
I
important thing to
I think at the
also,
end of the day, I mean, it's easy to say, but it's like regardless of whether it's easy to say or whatever, it's something that has to be done in many situations of life, right? Even
yeah,
and even if it's unfair. And one big example maybe is something like the retail server, like the retail industry, right? It's like sometimes even if the customers comes up to you and says some completely retarded shit, you have to grin and bear it. That's just like a
I
thing you
mean,
have to, right? It's
even
like
if you want to say like you don't have to fully grin and bear it, especially when it's like non-reasonable, but you should at least then, if you tell like someone like that to fuck off, essentially, you can't then expect your boss to accept an answer of like, you know, if they go, why did you say that to this person? Or like, why did you treat this customer this way? If you can't say like, oh, well, you know, like I turned them away because they were being unreasonable and they were being erratic and they were disrupting like other customers and other service. Like if you can't say that, that's an issue. That means that, you know, that's not what was happening, right? There's a lot of things in especially dev work where you see like feedback given in a
yeah.
mass amount and then the developer doesn't implement it. And if they ever even talk about it later on, it's always like, you know, they can't answer like, why didn't you respond? Why didn't you look at this? You know, where was our communication from you at least about these things? It's like
Mhm.
if you can't answer those questions, that is the problem, you know?
Yeah. Again, it's very unfortunate, and I think also there's I think people underestimate the value of even just like improving small things here and there. And I think even if devs don't again implement everything and just do one or two small things and kind of slowly kind of work up the ladder to show that they're actually responding to the community, it goes a long way to
Oh
being
yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, to
I
being
mean,
like,
pace
oh
it
yeah,
out.
you're listening, yeah, you're listening to me, you're
One of
actually improving. Yeah, it's like that.
yeah,
It helps.
my oh, my highest upvoted Reddit response to that like Warframe podcast was I was like, you know, it sucks that he feels this way and it's affecting him like this, but I hope that him or at least other devs on the team they released a patch that they called Warframe Revised essentially that did the self damage thing, which like yeah, there were parts of that we don't like, but they can at least, you know, implement on that. You know, it's in a better place I would say than it was before. Um and a bunch of other stuff that got fixed that needed to be fixed for years.
Hmm.
And like that was great. And during the dev stream when they were talking about that, like the creative designer was shitting on it. It was like no one's gonna care about this, like making a joke of the stream essentially. And it's like, no, I don't give a shit about essentially the fake trailers that you show at your event. I don't care anymore because I know they're fake now.
Right, exactly.
Because you've proven it to us with the last 3 updates that it was fake. So I don't care about those anymore. I care about what you're about to put in the game next week. That's what I care about. I really don't give a shit about the future anymore. I want to know what you're going to fix that's already there because the core is already solid. You may as well double down on
Right.
it. And it had a hugely positive response. And a lot of people did care about those changes. But the problem is like those are easy changes to make relative to anything else you can add, right? And people respond well to that. So redouble down on those.
Hmm.
Keep iterating on those, right? Like keep adding those like minor fixes that have been being asked for a long time. it might even push back your like big updates that no one knows about, or maybe people even do know about. But considering we're in a fucking global pandemic, now would also be the easiest excuse to do that, and it'd be a hell of a lot easier to do balance patches than it is to do entire like systems for a game, right?
Exactly.
So that would be
Unfortunately.
another thing. Yeah, small iterations.
Yeah. Oh, and with that, we are done with our shoutouts and callouts. Thank you all for sticking around. Again, in the next, couple of reviews, episodes 3, 4, 5 of like our spring 2020 review podcast, we are going to be running through a lot more sort of, again, more deeper series and more, sort of bigger name series that people have been watching so far in this season. So stay tuned for that. But yeah, if you like what we do, we stream our podcast every other Saturday at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time over at PlayerAnimecast. We do this, our twitch.tv/4PlayerAnimecast. We do this every other Saturday here on our Twitch channel where we talk about the latest and greatest Japanese animation media, anime, light novels, web novels, visual novels, and so much more. So watch us here do our live recording of our podcast. We also save it in VOD format so you can watch it later. Export it over to YouTube, of course, where you can see it in our YouTube form as well. So whichever one is more convenient. Check us on our social media on Facebook and Twitter at 4PlayerAnimecast and our Twitter handle at 4PPAnimecast, all with the number 4, where we'll give updates on what we're streaming, what we're doing, so on and so forth. And yeah, we'll see you next time.